good.
Match up all the audio.
Yeah, it's good though. Solid. My buddy, Tim Hendricks. How long you had this shop already?
You know what? I've had this shop now. I kind of go by Trip's age because my kid is 10. He's almost 11. And I bought the shop about, God, man, right around the time he was born, about 3 months after he was born, 2 months after he was born. So, yeah, I've had the shop for almost 11 years now. But it's been here since 1989.
And there's a cool story too, right? On how you took over the shop.
Well,
I mean, maybe not a cool story, but there's a story
it's
behind it.
An interesting story.
Right?
So this shop was the first tattoo shop in Fullerton. This guy named Charlie Moore opened it up. And then this guy named Eric Moski worked here at one point. A lot of people worked here. So many amazing people worked here. You know,
like well-known tattoo artists, right?
Yeah, well-known tattoo artists. Baby Ray, Mike Brown, Big Frank, you know. So a lot of famous tattooers would come through and work. Freddie Corbin would come here and work. Jeff Rasher, Oliver Peck would come here and work. But Eric had a very unique style, and so people started to really know this place for Eric Moski. You know, they would come and get tattooed by him. He tattooed, you know, a bunch of musicians, famous Orange County musicians, and then he bought the shop from Charlie Moore, and he actually, so he kind of revamped it a little bit. Charlie, I think there was like purple carpet in here from what I remember. I got my first professional tattoo in this shop when I was a kid.
With purple carpet?
Yeah, there was like some shag carpet or something. I don't know. It had a different look. But Eric changed it up and made it look like a real tattoo parlor, you know, like an old school tattoo parlor. He really cared. At the time, a lot of people didn't. They were kind of breaking away from this older style and older way of tattooing. And there was a lot of new school style. Like new school was like a thing back then, you know, chrome, you know, mom heart, shit like that. But Eric did this really, really neat kind of a little bit more like evolved style of traditional tattooing. And he got a lot of notice for it. And so he made this shop look like a real tattoo parlor. And there's, you know, so now the flash in here, the flash in this shop is about half his and half mine. Half of it was here when I got here, and half of it, the other half I brought in because I always collected old flash and old artifacts and things like that. It was important to me. And so everything in here is pretty much original besides like this flash you see behind me, you know, with like it's like the photocopied stuff. But we're going to change all that and make it eventually every single piece of flash in here will be original hand-painted piece of flash. Or like a hand color, an old hand color. But so Dave Moski, Eric passed away. He died in a very sad way. He died of a drug overdose. And his dad eventually got the shop after that. There was some turmoil between, you know, Eric's sister and Eric's dad, you know, trying to like kind of fight. Shit. Yeah, family shit, getting the shop. And I won't get into all that, you know, because every side has its own story. But Dave got the shop, and he kind of, I mean, he ran the place, but he kind of ran it in the ground, you know. I mean, he called me one time, he's like, I don't need no credit card machine. I told those credit card people to come pick up their fucking shit, you know, like.
Real old school.
Well, Dave, you got to have a credit card machine, you know? And he's like, oh, they told me to be compliant. I told him I don't like that fucking word. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude. So, you know, I would help him out. He'd call me now and then, and I would give him advice on how to run the place. And, you know, he'd take it. Sometimes he wouldn't. But then he eventually asked me, he was like, come on, man, run the place for me. Come work here. I'm like, Dave, if I come work for you, we'll end up like fighting each other.
And at this time, you're working where?
I was working all over. I was working at Spotlight for a little while. And then I was working at Gold Rush Tattoo in Costa Mesa. And then I left there. And then I went back to kind of doing some appointments at Spotlight in Hollywood. And so it was kind of like, I was just kind of floating. You know, this was actually, it was a perfect timing type of thing. And so he finally asked me, he's like, So I kept telling him, "Oh, dude, if I work for you, we'll kill each other. I'd rather just be your friend and help you out." Then he asked me to buy it. And I was like, okay, well, that's something that is intriguing to me. So...
Did you always wanted to own your own tattoo shop?
No, I didn't. But at the time, too, Luke Westman and I were actually looking to maybe open up a spot in Santa Ana.
Together?
Yeah, together, because they had legalized tattooing in Santa Ana. And we were like, oh, maybe we'll open up a spot in Santa Ana. And this just started to appeal to me. You know, this is the town I grew up in.
Fullerton.
And, yeah, Fullerton. I grew up in West Fullerton. And I love this town, you know, and my mom still lives here. My mom still lives in the house I grew up in.
Oh, that's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
I just stayed there 4 days. Lived out of my suitcase because my wife kicked me out of the house for her 40th birthday party.
Liz, you did tell us that you had a 40-year bash, so congratulations. Poor Tim and the boys.
Yeah, I mean, she still looks like she's 30 at the most.
She looks really young.
Yeah, man,
It's the Asian.
Yeah, I think it's the Asian.
It's the Asian.
She takes care of herself. She puts on cream. She just always puts on sunblock.
Is the cream from Korea?
I do, maybe. But there's creams and different things and potions all over, you know, and she just really, she's into that. And she, I mean, it shows, man. She just takes care of herself.
You know what? I love your family, bro. I'll tell you why.
Oh,
because
thank you, man. Likewise.
Yeah, because Rocky looks exactly like Liz.
Yeah.
And Tripp's a splitting image.
Oh, yeah. I have, Trip is obviously me.
Yeah.
Rocky is obviously Liz.
Like splitting images.
Yeah, we didn't get like any in-betweens. It's
No,
just like,
no.
nope, your kid, my kid.
And your kids, right? I don't really know them. I don't spend time with them. But as far as I know them is, they're really artistic kids.
They are.
Really artistic kids.
They're really smart, too. Actually, I'll get to that. Hold on. So Dave asked me to buy the place.
Uh-huh.
And I said, okay, let's work it out. And for 9 months, bro, we were like, maybe 6 to 9 months, we were working out the deal. He'd go back and forth. He'd change his mind. He'd forget what we talked about. He had fallen off the wagon, too. So he helped me out a little bit when I got sober. He was sober. He fell off the wagon. So I'd pick him up at like 10 a.m. at the bar, dude, to go talk to his lawyer and to arrange stuff. It was getting hectic. I was like, man, is this even going to happen? And my wife even said, she's like, why don't you just open your own place? It seems like such a hassle. Like, you're driving yourself nuts over this, so much stress. And I'm like, you'll understand. You just got to trust me. And she's like, yeah, I trust you, you know. But so Dave died. He had all kinds of toxic stuff going on. You know, his organs were failing. And that was the cause of why he was kind of all over the place and couldn't function mentally. And no one really knew. So he fell ill really fast and then died.
Wow.
Hadn't even purchased the place yet. And then his sister, Mimi, she had power of attorney over something from the past. The shop wasn't going to go to her. It was just going to go to this guy, Shane Trulin.
Some random guy.
No. Oh. He used to be a helper here. He's a great dude. Got it. A very loved person in Orange County.
Okay.
And he's got roots here. So it's going to go to him, and then he's going to gift it to, we were talking about gifting this, John Troller, who's worked here forever, longest person that's worked here.
Uh-huh.
I grew up with him, too, tattooed him out of my garage when he was 15 years old.
Nice.
But so it ended up going to Mimi, his sister, and she was basically trying to sell it to anyone who would purchase it for more money.
Highest bidder.
She was trying to do like a highest bidder, and she would lie to them. She would say, no, Tim's not interested. And then one guy even like signed the contract and everything. And then when he found out he had been lied to, he tore it all up and made sure. He even came with me to the lawyer's office to sign everything and make sure that it all went down.
Wow. You don't have people like that nowadays.
No, you don't.
You don't have people like that.
They're getting more and more rare. But so I finally got the place, and, you know, she kept trying to, even I think it was the night before, she called people up and was like, you want to give me like $1,000 more than Tim, you can have it.
Wow.
And they'd be like, sell it to fucking Tim. She actually thought I was trying to like strong arm people and get people. She couldn't understand that we just have this is a small knit community, and we have integrity and we look out for each other. You know, she thought I was trying to like hustle this place, you know, for a cheap price or something. There's these unwritten laws that we adhere to.
Yes.
You know, so it is kind of like, you know, motorcycle clubs or, you know, even like a street gang or this. It's like there's a community behind it of old unspoken, you know, unwritten laws.
Yeah.
So I finally got the place after all that. And I remember I forgot the whole contract that I just signed at the leasing office. And John was like, oh my God, I finally got the key. The shop had been closed for a month. She closed the shop for a month. All these guys stuff locked inside.
Oh, she didn't let nobody in.
She finally did when I threatened her legally. So he went back and got it. And I sat in here after all that 9 months or a year of just so much work, you know, and dealing with it all and trying to get the place. And I just sat here. I sat over there on this chair that was there. And I kind of got emotional, man. I got like crocodile tears. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then Liz came down later that day with Tripp, you know, as a baby. And she walked to the shop, and she didn't really say much. She just kind of walked around and looked at everything. This is before I even like added all my stuff to it. And she walked up to me and she said, oh, yeah, I get it now. You know, I was like, yeah, you know, she just understood why I worked so hard to get this place, you know. And dude, honestly, when Dave was sick, or when he was, you know, when he was drinking and, you know, before he died, he asked me, he's like, what are you going to call the place? And I'm like, what do you mean, bro? And he's like, what are you going to call it? Like Tim Hendricks Classic Tattoo? Are you going to change the name altogether? Going to name it something completely different? I'm like, I mean, I was going to call it Eric Moski's Classic Tattoo, if that's all right with you. And he was like, you do that? And I'm like, well, yeah, man. Like, why wouldn't I do that? You know, like, my name's fine, dude. You know, like, I'm not worried about my name or whatever in tattooing.
You love tattooing.
Yeah, I love tattooing. And this is Eric. This is, you know, this is just remembered as Eric Moski's Classic Tattoo. And so I have the neon made, you know, like that. You know, I had a neon made to match the old neon, and I put Eric Moski's on it. And Dave goes, I remember he's actually got choked up and he got tears in his eyes, and I've never seen that old crusty old fucking biker dude ever cry. And he got tears in his eyes, and he just kind of, I think he asked for a minute or something, and I just got like, oh shit, what the fuck, you know? And I was like, I've never seen this tough dude cry.
You know what? Just that gesture alone, I think you should be blessed 1,000 times over.
I guess, but you know what, dude? Here's the deal. As I look at this shop, as this is not. It's not necessarily mine. I mean, legally, it's mine.
Right.
You know, the business license is in my name. You know, like the bank account's in my name. You know, but so legally, it's mine. But
so it's almost like you're an investor in it, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm like the caretaker.
Yeah.
You know, of this place, and I'll make sure there's no turmoil if I pass early or when I pass later. There will be no fight over it. Yeah, hopefully, there'll be no fight over it. It will go to the right person, and the right people will run it. You know, hopefully my kids will be, you know, want to run it. But they said they want a tattoo. I hope they become doctors. But
right, we could only hope they become other things than what we do.
Yeah. So maybe, you know, we'll see. But I have a whole plan set in place where if I died in a car accident on the way up to my house right now, this shop would carry on, and it would keep going on, and everything would be taken care of. Wow. You know, so. Yeah. So no one ever has to worry about that, because I feel like that's my job. That's my responsibility. You know, this is like a landmark. It's a staple in tattooing, and I'm super grateful that I get to be the caretaker. And I tell you what, even though it's a stressful motherfucking job.
I mean, being a business owner alone, right?
Oh,
I tell you what, though, every time I come in this shop, the energy and just the aura of this place really gives that, like you said, right? That old school tattoo parlor vibe.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I like it, dude. Even I tell Regan, whenever we come up here, I said, you know what? I could actually just hang out at the shop and just hang and just watch you guys tattoo, the stories, right? How much stories you've heard along the years in a tattoo shop.
So many. If these walls could talk, man, you know, a million fucking amazing stories.
What's the most craziest thing you've seen in a tattoo shop?
In a tattoo shop?
Yeah, like, regardless if you're just in there, just chilling, or you're working, what's the gnarliest thing?
I'll tell you a story. I got some gnarly stuff,
right?
But it can't be told.
Okay, perfect.
But I got a story for you.
Okay.
All right. So this guy, oh my God, I worked at this shop called Inflictions in the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay.
Great shop, man. That's where I really made, I feel like I made a name for myself and progressed as an artist. Me and the Montoya brothers, Mikey Montoya and Tommy Montoya, all worked together, and we were feeding off each other and showing each other work. And really, man, I progressed so much working at that shop.
Would you say you come from the second generation of tattoo artists?
Yeah, I don't know what generation, man. I'm like, because there's so many generations of tattooers. Because then you got generations of electric tattooers, you know.
Got
and then
it.
You got like, so I don't know. I feel like I got. You know what I feel like I got? That I can say for sure. I got the tail end of real tattooing.
The golden years.
Yes, I got the tail end of the golden years, and I got really lucky because I'm young. You know, I started really young. Started in my mid-teens. So
what's that, 10
I got
years ago?
accepted in. Yeah, I got accepted in by a generation above me. You know, so I really got those golden years. You know, and there was some of us that were, you know, a little bit younger that started so young that we got accepted into that, and we got those golden years of tattooing. Like Frank Ball is one of them. I don't know if you know Frank Ball.
I don't.
He's from here, but he lives out in Austin right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin. He lives out in Austin right now.
He's an OG.
But yeah, he's a little bit older than me, but he started really young too, and we got those. You know, we got those last years, man. It was awesome. But the crazy story.
Montoya Brothers.
Well, yeah, they were there for this, but so I tattooed this walk-in, and I think he was a Vietnamese dude, super nice, but I could tell this dude was a G for sure. He just there's just signs, and when you grow up with real G's, you know those signs. And he got this, just a little kanji character on his forearm right here that he wanted. You know, he had it drawn, and he showed me, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do the tattoo. I did it. Our minimum back then was like $60 or something, you know? So I think I would charge like $60, $80 for a kanji. Mind you, this is almost 30 years ago. So I did the kanji, and he was like, thanks, man, I appreciate it, you know? And he goes, here, and he pulled out, he had so much money on him, cash. And he flipped me off like $200, I think, and he handed it to me for like a $60 tattoo. I'm all, hey, bro, no, 100's plenty.
That alone solidified you somewhat.
And and he goes, nah, man, I appreciate it. I want you to have it. You know, I'm like, all right, man, cool. And he left, and that was it. But then a few months later, he rolls back in, and he's spun out, dude. He's spun. And he's just like, yo, man, you fucked up my tattoo and this and that. And I'm like, and he's just got that look, you know, like tough guy shit, whatever, dude.
Right.
It takes a lot to scare me. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to fucking break my nose? I've been broken fucking 3 times boxing. You know what I mean? Well, 1 surfing, 2 boxing. You know, I'm like, I just broke it again fucking 5 months ago. So I'm just like, dude, you know, but psychopaths are different, dude.
Right.
Those people like fucking, you know,
mutilate you.
Yeah, it's a different story. And I was like, this dude's fucking crazy right now. He spun, and I just go, well, what's up, bro? I was being really cool, you know. And he's like, look, man, look, it's fucked up. And I'm looking at, dude, the tattoo healed fucking perfect. It was perfect.
Wow.
So I go, well, let me set up, man. I'll touch it up. I was like, I'm just gonna, you know, like, humor this dude. So I set up real quick. I'm all, come on back. And I actually asked him, like, hey, where? And he's all, right there. You don't see it, man? I gave you a fucking $200 tip, man, and it fucking healed bad. And I'm like, okay, bro, there's nothing wrong with it. I just went over the whole thing real quick. I'm all, we're good. And he's like, all right, man, thank you. You know, and he left, and everyone, dude, everyone was uneasy. This dude was fucking like volatile.
Set the tone in the shop.
Yes, everyone's like, whoa, bro, that dude's fucking spun the fuck out. And I'm like, yeah, but that dude's the type of guy that's just going to pull out his gun and fucking start capping all of us. I just want to make him happy. They're like, yeah, no, I think you handled it good, you know. And so he split. Another few months go by. The owner calls me up. He's like, hey, man, let's go out. Let me give you, you know, take you out to lunch. I ran the shop for him. This guy, Steve Potts, great owner, one of my favorite people I ever worked for. So he took me out to like TGI Fridays or some shit like that. You know, we had some, you know, lunch, and I just talked over business, what's going on. You know, we talk over finances and this stuff and where I'm ordering and how, you know, it's doing. We also talk over drama, who's getting along with who. There's always shop drama.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, it's in every business. So I get back to the shop, and everybody's fucking tripping and on edge. And I'm like, what's going on? You know, like, you guys cool? And the helper was just like kind of pale almost, like he was like he saw a ghost. I'm like, what's going on, dude? And goes, yo, dude, that dude came back for you. I'm like, what dude? He's like, that fucking dude with the kanji, that Asian dude with the kanji, you know? And I'm like, oh, great. Fuck, was it fucked up again? And they were just like, not having my jokes. You know, they were like, bro, he fucking rolled in a sarong, nothing else, barefoot, shaved his entire body, eyebrows included, cuts all over him, razor cuts with blood dripping down all over him from the dull razor that he used. He has a rusty, fucked up machete, but sharpened. Rusty, but like just
the edges,
you can see the edges,
yes.
all sharpened. Feet all bloody from walking barefoot everywhere. Pacing in the fucking lobby. Where's Tim? He fucked up my tattoo. He's gonna fucking pay for this. Holding his machete, tapping it and shit, walking back and forth. I think one of them got their gun ready, was like ready. If this dude started swinging him a fucking machete, chopping arms off.
You gotta get ready.
And they were like, he's not here, you know, you come back or whatever. And he fucking just pacing, screaming, completely off the rails, dude, ready to just hack somebody up. And then he fucking left. So I get there right after, like fucking 5 minutes after. And I looked at the owner and I'm like, and he goes, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to fucking get this dude before he gets me, bro. I want to find him before he finds me. So I went and I grabbed something to defend myself and a baseball bat. And we drove around looking for this dude. And we never found him. I don't know what happened to this dude. I do know when we got back, though, Steve, the owner, was like, hey, bro. Oh, no, maybe we were driving around. He's like, hey, there's like, how far are you going to get in a sarong, blood all over you, you know what I mean, with a fucking machete, barefoot, before you get picked up by the cops? Like, people are going to call and be like, hey, there's some fucking psychopath walking around with a machete.
All bloodied.
So I think he just got picked up. I'm hoping, in a perfect world, he got picked up, he went to jail, maybe he was on the run, went to jail, got clean, changed things up. Doesn't want to come back and kill me for his fucking perfectly good kanji.
He's going to come back and he wants to cover it this time.
But, bro, I fucking sat in my station kind of like looking over my shoulder anytime somebody would come in for a little while after that, just being ready just in case. You know what I mean? Like gun close by type of shit, just in case some dude in a machete came in to fucking hack my head off. That was a gnarly one. Tattooing isn't like that anymore, man.
It's not, because like I said, tattoos relates to biker gangs to me.
Yeah, it can. So it can relate to, you know, back in the day, it related to all kinds of
Sailors.
different things. Sailors, bikers, gangsters, convicts, you know, prostitutes. You know, that's what everyone associated it with.
The negative side of life.
It wasn't always, you know, there was always people coming in and be like, let's get a tattoo. But now it's the opposite of that, you know, now. And it's funny because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I miss the old days. I miss the golden days and this and that. And it's like, I do too. I miss a lot of that.
Yeah.
But, man, it's just different. And it's never going to be the fucking same.
No.
It's never going to be the same.
Society's different.
Society's different. It's all different. And it's never going to be the same. And I don't have to, like, dude, you see the way I run my fucking social media. I'm not fucking dancing around to TikTok videos and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I get that it's different now. You know, tattoo machines, there's different tattoo machines. Some of my friends will not accept them. They even have a sticker, because those pens, they call them dildos. They have stickers on their fucking doors. They call them dildos. And they're those quiet machines, you know, there's no noise. Rotaries. They got stickers on their door, or on the thing of the tattoo shop that say no dildo zone. My friend Oliver made these stickers. He gives them to people. Oliver, you can't have those in his shop. Him and I have had this conversation, so it's, you know, it's cool.
Oliver Peck.
Yes, Oliver Peck. But I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. So I remember Scott Sylvia. So this is, not Scott Sylvia, Scott Sterling.
Okay.
He's an old school tattooer. And he's a legend, still alive, living legend in tattooing. But I remember he said one time, and I always remember this, because he said, you know, if you give the customer a good tattoo and a good experience, like a great tattoo with a great experience, whatever, and they leave happy and you get paid, what the fuck does it matter what type of machine you used
Right.
to get them to that point, you know? And so, you know, tattooing is just different, but there's things that I'll accept, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't hurt tattooing. This doesn't, you know, you know, this is kind of neat. This new fucking item or this new
'cause you have
style
a-
of tattooing.
You have an open mind.
I mean, well, thank you. I like to think so.
I
You know?
think you have an open
But there's
mind.
things that I won't accept. Like, I'm not gonna fucking dance around to a TikTok video in my house. I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna do that. I tried to get on, you know, do a TikTok and make little videos, and I was like, I don't
not
have
it.
fucking time for this. I don't have time to be editing videos. And if you follow me, or you look at my Instagram and you see like, man, this guy posts like once a fucking
Exactly.
week at the most. And I don't have comments on.
I like the
cannot
fact
fucking
that you
reply to
don't
my
have
stories.
comments.
Yeah, because dude, I'm not trying to do this for the attention or the this. I'm just fucking look, dude. Here's my work. If you like it,
You like it.
If you like it, cool. I appreciate that. If you don't like it, fucking move along. I don't care. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't need your comment. I don't need your. I watched every season of Ink Master, and I'm going to judge your tattoo that you just posted.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I'm not looking for your validation. I have all these rad tattooers in the shop to critique my tattoo and do it honestly to where I'm going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try that next time or whatever, you know? So, like, I think you can move forward and you can advance, and not just with tattooing. This
Everything.
goes for everything.
Everything
you
in
can
life.
move forward and you can advance, and you can look at progress as like, well, is this an integrable progress, or is this just fucking filler and bullshit?
Right.
And you know what I mean? Just an us versus them type of fucking progress. And I try to still run it like how I would run it 30 years ago,
Right.
you know, but understanding that, yeah, I guess I can't fucking drive over and slap this fucking dude upside the head for, you know what I mean, doing this. And it's like, dude, I'm not some fucking gangster, and I'm
Right.
not some self-proclaimed tough guy, you know, but you had to have some type of sand. You
Yeah.
had to have sand to be in the tattoo industry.
Some
back
type
then.
of law and order. Like you said,
Yeah.
unwritten rules.
Yeah, and there's exceptions to the rules. Some of these guys have gotten away with it, and they're just more pacifists. You know what I mean? They're more like they're mellow, but they didn't fuck up because
Right,
of that.
right.
They didn't get crazy
There
or
was
do
a
stupid
code.
shit, and they made right. They were like, hey, what can I do to make right? I fucked up, you know, this and that, and what can I do to make right? You know, accountability.
Yes.
And I feel like there's just no accountability now. Look, it all starts with just a comment on Instagram. This is fucking lame, blah, blah, blah. Man, you would never walk up to that person and say that.
No.
So they can do that, and there's no accountability. No accountability. And so that's what I don't like about some of the progress with social media and the way the world is now and things moving so fast.
So
is that
fast.
People don't have accountability, you know?
Well, what's your thoughts on, since we're on that topic then, what's your thoughts on these people getting put to sleep and doing their entire body nowadays?
You know, that's a good question, man.
I fucking hate it. I think you're not even earning the tattoo.
Okay, so I agree, but it's funny because I used to always say like you know, you get the tattoo you deserve type of thing, and you got to earn, you know, something. You know, some tattoos are earned, even if you just go through the pain to get it. Well, you earned it,
Right.
and now I guess, fuck, they don't have to be earned. They just pay people. And I always said, I'm like, man, I hope somebody doesn't fucking die.
But someone did. I think someone
And
did,
someone did. A Brazilian, Brazilian social media influencer got put under and died. And you know what, man? I'll be honest. I don't agree with all the fucking people laughing about it and talking shit about it. And I'm gonna say this because some of them probably I know. I don't know. I'm not looking through everyone's comments, but you know, if you laughed at that and you made a joke about it, be a little bit ashamed because that dude, you know, it's not like he's some bad person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
He probably has a family, kids,
he
who
does.
knows?
He fucking left children behind, dude. That fucking broke my heart. I was like, man, this sucks, bro. Like, you know, it's not like he did some fucking bad thing, you know? It's not like he like lived by the sword, he died by the sword.
Right,
You know, he's a
right.
fucking drug dealer and you got shot. Well, yeah, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But he's just a social media influencer, man. He did something. He probably got it for a really good price because they were like, oh, we'll get this influencer to do it. And he'll post about it, and then we'll get other clients in, you know. So they probably gave him some amazing deal, and then he just fucking died, man. And that happens to people. They may have a heart condition they don't know about.
Right.
They may have something, you know, that they don't know about that doesn't mix well with the anesthesia, or a medication they didn't know that they forgot to say. And they fucking die right when they get under.
Well, but hey, if he's
that
stuck
guy,
to old school,
that sucks, bro. But I do hope that people will look at that as a little bit like, man, this is an elective, like gnarly risk you're taking.
Yeah.
You're getting put under electively. This isn't something you need. You do not need this massive tattoo in one shot. Like Jake Paul got put under and got some massive tattoo.
That's crazy.
You know,
I wonder if the people that's putting them under are licensed. I mean, I know they have to be, but I wonder if like...
Oh, the anesthesiologist?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to get, you know, it all has to be done. So some company hit me up and asked me about it. They just like wrote me on Instagram. Oh no, they wrote me on my email from my Instagram, and she gave me this whole pitch. You know, we'll pay. She even said, the money is amazing. You'll make so much money off that. Like, honestly, man, money's cool and it makes the world go round, and I need money to support my family. But fuck all that.
Yeah, you have integrity.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, people will argue that and say I don't because I did tattoo TV. And they'll be like, oh, well, you did it for the fucking money. And it's like, yeah, when is a fucking tattoo artist ever able to own a house and have after the fucking housing market crash?
Right.
And have these fucking rich old white dudes at the fucking bank looking at your thing and being like, oh, tattoo artist? No. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're the underwriters. They say what fucking goes. Oh, he's on television, paid for by Discovery Channel Incorporated? Sure, let's give him the loan. You know what I mean? I finally fucking was able to break free of the chains of being a fucking, a kick a can of starving artist fucking climbs out.
Did you get a lot of that after being on television?
Oh, yeah, of course I got a lot of it. And they'd say, oh, well, if you did it for the money, you sold out. And I'm like, what would you want me to do it for? Fame and glory? Because I think that's fucking selling out.
Right.
I did 2 seasons. I made enough to buy a house. When they did season 3, I didn't come back because I was like, I bought my house.
Right.
I actually got a house. I couldn't even believe it. It was coming out of the housing market crash, so I still got it for a good price. I scraped in by the skin of my teeth. And I was like, I had imposter syndrome for years. I can't believe I fucking have...
You own a house.
I own my own house. I'm making payments, a mortgage on my own house. I never thought I'd have this. I got into tattooing thinking I was going to be broke but happy for the rest of my life. And I was cool with that. I made that decision. I don't give a fuck about the money. I just want to love what I do. And I'll be honest, bro, I come into this fucking shop, over 30 years of tattooing. I come in here and I got this fucking great crew that's like old and young, you know, like old guys. Bucky, I work with Bucky for the last, we started tattooing around the same time, worked with him three different shops over the last fucking 25 years. I love working with Bucky.
Yeah,
you know?
he's a good dude.
Yeah, and then I got fucking young ones too, these badass young ones, you know, like, dude, Isaac, my last apprentice, that fucking kid is a prodigy.
Brian.
You know what I mean? Brian, I get to work with both my fucking apprentices, you know, and we just have like this bond together, you know, and man, I love coming into work. I look at my schedule, like there's this one actor dude, this guy Trey. He's one of the raddest dudes ever, and I saw him on the schedule coming up, you know, next month or something. I don't know, but I am like, oh, sick! I can't wait to come in and work on Trey, and just talk with him and catch up. He had a kid since the last time I saw him, and I get to tattoo all these amazing people. And get paid to do it? Are you fucking kidding me?
Also, you get to tattoo. The other day, right? The last time I got here, you were tattooing. You get to tattoo fathers, sons, daughters, family, generations. Right.
Dad, son, grandson.
Yeah.
I tattooed so many of those.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel fucking old.
I mean, fuck, you tattooing my daughter, her first tattoo.
Yeah, back piece, her first tattoo.
Yeah. Took it like a champ.
His daughter got a back piece for her first tattoo. It sat like a stone.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
And then...
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No. No, I love my daughter. Want to fucking strangle her sometimes, but she's cool. She's put so much mileage on my Charger that I gave her when she got her license.
Yeah.
Driving everywhere and does not want to fucking stop driving. So I'm like, fuck, I'm only allowed a certain amount of mileage per year on the fucking...
Oh, like a lease.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
and
I'm
you
like,
got to pay a certain amount, like 25 cents a mile or something
I'm
after.
like, Jesus Christ, Malia, but The last time I was here, you were tattooing one of your buddies, and I saw it was a portrait of his son.
Yes.
And then I didn't know the son passed. I was like, oh shit, that's cool, man. Where's your son? And he said he's passed. I was like, fuck. Put my foot in my mouth.
Zach.
Yes.
His kid's name was Zach.
Yeah, died in a car accident, I believe, right?
Yeah, right near here.
Yes.
He was driving to school, and a woman was taking her kids to school and turned left in front of him. And he just bought that Corvette.
Fuck.
He worked for it and paid for it and bought like an old school Corvette. And yes, and he passed away, man. That was like, that fucking was heart-wrenching. So there is tattoos that I do that are like that, where, I mean, of course I come home and I hug my kids a little harder, which I'm sure, his dad would appreciate, Jack's dad would appreciate that I do, he'd want me to.
Right.
But, yeah, it's hard because, man, I can't be some cold guy now. I'm fucking sober now, bro. I have all these feelings and shit.
These suppressed feelings are all
I
out
can't,
now.
I'm like choking up at movies and shit. My kids are like, what's wrong with you? I'm nothing. Someone's cutting some onions or something.
How do you control that, though?
Control what?
Like you're just saying, Zach.
You know what, man?
How do you control the emotions?
I just listen, because getting tattooed is like a therapy session.
Yes.
It can be just a drunken tattoo where your girlfriends come in and get all matching tattoos, and you wake up and you go, oh my God, we all got tattooed. Or it can be all the way to the other end where it can experience like that, where you come in and get a really emotional tattoo, and that's an important moment, to like
connect with your
tattooer, but also it's a moment in time for what you're going through. It's a stamp. It's a milestone in your life,
right?
And it's a permanent reminder of something you never want to forget, or you always want to stay attached to, or that's so important to you. So I remember that with every tattoo, even if it's the fucking drunk ladies getting their matching tattoos, is that those ladies, are going to remember that experience for the rest of their life. And, and when people come in and get, very emotional, very, sensitive tattoos, they're going to remember that moment the rest of my life. Like, I can't tell you how many tattoos I've done. I can't tell you. Sometimes I see a person and they're like, hey, and I'm like, hey, you. And then they go, remember you did this on me. I'm like, oh my God. I'll remember every tattoo, but I'm like, oh, that's cool, yeah. And they're like, man, that was awesome. I had such a good experience. And
so you remember every tattoo if someone showed it to you?
Mostly I remember the tattoo, but not necessarily the experience, all that. But dude, if you go over, like if I asked you all your tattoos, do you remember the experience of getting that tattoo and who did the tattoo?
For the most part, I do.
Yeah.
For the most part, I do.
Dude, some of them were like really important to me, Yeah. And like Liz tattooed, I love you right here on my hand with my machine. She just did it. We were all drunk together one night. So I remember that with every tattoo I do. I always keep in mind that, man, this is a very important moment for these people.
Yeah.
This may be the 20,000th fucking name that I've done, but this is very important to them. And I treat it as such. I treat every tattoo like it's not only just the last tattoo I may ever do in my life, because very well, one day it will be the last tattoo I do. But I also remember that this is a very important moment in this person's life, and they're going to remember that, and they're paying me to do that, and they're giving me their trust with their body to be able to do that. And
so did that Asian guy with the machete.
And that's, but that's one of the things, so back to what we were talking about, that's one of the things that I think is getting lost in tattooing.
That natural connection.
Yes, it's getting watered down and lost, is that the importance of this, of what you're actually doing here and laying down this piece of art on someone's body. You know what? Chuco did an interview, Chuco Moreno that works here, my good friend. He did an interview and said something.
I'm always intimidated by him
similar.
too when I see him. He's an intimidating guy.
Yeah, he can be an intimidating guy, but man, he is a gem, dude. He is such an incredible person. He's the most interesting man, remember that, the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
I think he is a fascinating, interesting person, man. He's got an amazing story. But he said something very similar to this in in a podcast I think he did. And it was about the importance of a tattoo, and he understands it, and I hope people hear this and they understand. If not, just like if you're going to get a tattoo,
right?
Go to somebody who you feel really like feels that way about the tattoo they're laying down on your body.
My perfect example is you and my daughter, right? Because I told her, you got to get it big. for your first one. If not, don't get it at all.
Yeah.
But you, in your way, you're like, you know what? You don't have to do what your dad wants you to do. I want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that. When I heard you talk to Malia about that, I was like, man, fuck. Where was Tim when I was getting tattooed in my younger years? You know, because I would go to shops. I'd go to my dad's friend's shops and be like, hey, I want this.
Yeah.
And they just, okay. But now I have a half-finished fucking skull on my back.
Yeah.
Which I will never touch again because that part of my body hurts.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that you do that. And I told my wife, I said, you know, one good thing I love about Tim as a tattoo artist, I go, one, he's a good fucking human being. I love calling him my friend.
Thank
but
you,
as
man.
a tattoo artist, is he took Malia and he said, hey, I get it, your dad wants to do this, but I want to do something you want. What do you want? And then eventually she said, I want my entire back. But
Yeah.
I love the fact that you do that.
Yeah.
It's not discouraging, but I love that you give a fuck about what they really want and you take pride in what they want to do, you know?
Yeah, that dude, I love that part about it.
Yeah.
You know? And in the end, man, it's their yeah, you're doing it on them, but it's their fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
They're the one who has to wear it.
And you did Dana,
I'm
my
not trying to
wife.
be like, oh, you don't want to get like my style? Well, I only do this. Like,
Yeah.
fucking shut up, dude. Entitlement. Oh my
Right.
God, you're a fucking tattoo artist. You're not saving anyone's life here. You're laying on a tattoo on someone else's body,
Right.
and it's their fucking body, and it's their choice. I'm that way with everything, bro.
Right.
Like with the whole thing with the vaccine, people were like, you have to fucking, everyone has to, and it's like, hey man, that's your opinion, and if you want it, you go
get
out
it.
and get your vaccine,
Yeah.
that's fine, because that's your body and that's your choice.
Yeah.
But that's his body and that's his choice. And I feel the same way with every other thing, you know,
In life.
the very sensitive subject is
Yeah.
your body, your choice. But when it comes to medical or anything, it's your body, it's your
your
choice. You
choice.
only got one. You only got one body.
Right.
You know, and you get to do whatever the fuck you want with it. You know, I may not agree with the decisions that one person's making with their body,
Right.
but it's theirs, dude. And I just never understood the ego in fucking tattooing.
Since we're on the your body, your choice thing, dude, I have this question. You've been sober how long now?
15 and a half years, coming up on 16 years.
And I'm pretty sure that Liz probably had a lot of influence on that, or no?
Well, Liz never told me to get sober.
Right.
But I OD'd in front of her.
No shit.
I OD'd in Miami. We've been partying all night. Liz says she never partied more in her life than when we first started hanging out.
And you're in
She
Miami.
was just trying to keep up with me, that poor thing. We were in Miami. I still had a place there. Oh, no, maybe I didn't have a place there anymore. I think we were renting a place from Ammy's friend. And, man, 8 in the morning, I'm still fucking hitting the bag, you know, and I got a bunch of Oxycontin in me, and I just didn't feel right. And I'm punching all these symptoms that I'm having in WebMD, and it keeps saying
That's the worst thing you could do, too,
I
right?
know. It kept saying cardiac arrest. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then I read this thing that said the most common reason why people die of a heart attack is because they wait too long to go to the hospital. Because that's when you really go like, oh, shit, man, I need to go. By that time, it's probably too late. And I'm like, damn it. And I woke her up, and I called my friend Marky, and he was out. He had gotten sober 2 years before me. He was out. What was he doing? He was showing people houses, real estate. And he rushed over and grabbed me. And, man, by the time he got there, 20, 30 minutes later, if I would have waited till then to call, I don't know what would have happened. But I was blacking in and out in the way of the hospital in the back seat of his Escalade, I think it was. And he just started running lights, man. He was just running lights over to Cedars in Miami. And I remember kind of coming in and out, like peripheral shutting down and then going like that. My heart was going from 200 and something beats a minute or something crazy.
Holy
I don't know. It's like a
shit.
200 beats a minute to down to like 30, back up to, it was wild, bro. That's a painful experience. And I was looking at this woman crying. My head was in her lap. And I was like, man, I just met the love of my life. The absolute, unequivocal love of my life. And I'm about to like die in her arms, and she's gonna have to call my mom that she just met and tell her that I'm fucking dead.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Like, and I just didn't want to fucking die. It's not that I wanted to die. I cared about my life. You know, I cared about somebody more than myself
Right.
for the one time in a really long time. And I was like, fuck, man, if I make it out of this, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get clean. And I did. I started, on that path, and I asked for help, and I started doing it. But I fucked up, 3 times after that. Of
course.
2 or 3 times. I think 3 times. Just single incidences.
Right.
And the last time was like all the boys. We were living in Hawaii at the time, all the boys came over and were like, "You're getting fucking, you're getting married in 2 days." I was getting married at the courthouse in Honolulu. You're getting married in 2 days, dude. We're gonna party, and they were all fucking hitting the bag and snorting oxys, and I was like, "Oh, you talk yourself into it, dude." And I got loaded, and I woke up the next day, and I was like, "Fuck." I was so mad at myself for fucking up again, And then the next day after that, so technically that was my first day sober on this run of sobriety. And the next day after that, we drove down to the courthouse in Honolulu, me and Liz, and we took our friend Mahina, or Liz's friend Mahina. Now it's both of our friends.
Right.
And she went and photographed for us, and her daughter was there, Chloe, I think Chloe was there, who's like a full-grown woman now. And we got married in front of this really sweet, jolly, like judge. You could tell he really loved what he did. And I never
looked back.
Yeah, I never had a drink or a drug
Fuck,
since.
right on. If I had a drink, this is where I'd say, Tim, fuck, cheers. But right on, man. I love that.
Yeah.
So if you had a couple or one advice for the younger generation right now that's fighting sobriety or addictions, what would be what would be your advice to them?
If I had advice for somebody who's suffering from addiction, I don't know. I don't think there's a quick little piece of advice. I'll say a few things. If you cannot seem to get one, like if you're in a position where you cannot put together any amount of time, you keep relapsing. I was the relapse king. I would get clean and go through a detox, but then I relapsed again.
Right.
If you're fighting this and you're battling, you keep having problems, and you know you got a problem. Just remember that you're never going to be, it's never going to be like it was before you were getting loaded or when you first started getting loaded.
Got it.
It's never going to be like that. You're always going to be this way now. You get sober and you step out of that ring and your addiction, whether it's alcohol or whatever drug is, or gambling, that is sitting in the ring doing push-ups, training, waiting for you to step back in. It'll be like, oh, well, I'm going to take a break and then start over. It's just going to go right back to where it was, and it's going to get worse every time. You're a pickle now, and you can never be a cucumber again. Once you're a pickle, you can never be a cucumber again. That's it, bro.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, you've made chemical changes to your brain, irreparable chemical changes to your brain, the way that your brain works, that will never be the same, So whatever it takes to get you sober, try it all. That's what I would say to somebody who's suffering. And don't be fucking too tough guy or manly to ask for help, because you will not win.
Right.
This is not a battle you can win. You have to it's real simple, bro. If I relapse, I'm either going to get sober or die first. There's no in between. You know what I mean? There's and then if I get sober, I'm either going to die or relapse first. You know what I mean? It's no
It's a recurring thing.
It's simple choices, Life's actually usually pretty simple. We're the ones who make it really difficult on ourselves.
Yeah.
So I always like to tell people that, I tell them the cucumber pickle thing because it really makes them realize that, they just helps them accept it, to just be like, fuck. I remember some kid just went, fuck, that's so fucked up. He, because it soaked in, and he was bummed about it. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. But I have seen people that were straight up junkies,
Yeah.
And now they have drinks with their friends, and they keep it cool, and
they can monitor that thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I even am like, fuck, I could probably have a drink like a normal person at dinner, have a glass of wine at dinner. But I'm like, man, I'm not taking that chance. You know what I mean? Like, no way. I ain't even fucking gonna try.
Door might crack
It's
open.
it's not even worth it to take
Yeah.
that chance for me because I just don't think I have gears anymore. I'm either neutral and parked or I'm fucking fifth gear wide open.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no in between anymore. All those other gears are stripped
Well,
now.
plus now you got Trip, you got Rocky, right?
Yes, I have people that rely on
Yeah.
me, you know. So my sobriety affects others now.
Mm-hmm.
And I care way too much about those three
Fuck,
to
that's-
ever get loaded again, you know. And my wife, she's a normie. She's been partying for the last 4 days with her friends.
Yeah.
You know, while we've been living at grandma's house, you know, 'cause
temporarily homeless.
Because it's her birthday. Yeah, we were temporarily homeless. We were living in a suitcase.
You brought up Hawaii. Liz
Yeah.
is originally from Hawaii.
She's from Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah.
Big Island.
Yeah, so she was born in, she always goes back and forth, but she was born in Oahu. She was born in Queens.
Okay.
But she was raised on the Big Island.
Got it.
And
What part?
Excuse me. She went to school there, Kailua Kona. So she went to school there. She went to
Konawaiana?
Kamehameha, is it?
Oh,
Or-
wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so her,
Huh?
Kamehameha, the nice one, the one where you live on campus.
Oh, that's on Oahu, Kapalama.
No, she was on the Big Island. Up in the mountains, kind of.
Must have been something else then, because not.
It might have been before your time.
No, Kamehameha School opened up on the Big Island in 2003 or 4. When I was in high school, I graduated.
Yeah, because I know Kamehameha Oahu is on the mountain. It's on the hill.
Yeah, so no,
No, it was Big Island, though,
Big
where she
Island?
went to school. And she lived there.
might have been Konawaiana, because they're up.
Konawaiana is on the mountain too.
Yeah, they're up on the mountain. But
Oh,
70
maybe.
below.
But she went to school there. And she
Okay.
had friends there, and she would always tell me about the Big Island. She's like, the only thing to do in the Big Island was to hang out at the new Walmart in the parking lot. You know what I mean? And you know, there was just
And
but
drink.
It's a beautiful, yeah, and drink. There's a beautiful island, and then she went to Oahu after that. I think after high school, and she's got all her friends. She's got her friends that she went to school with on the Big Island. So one of them lives here, Maggie. It's one of her best friends, you know. She lives in L.A., and then she's got her friends that she's known forever.
But
out-
even
out
besides
on
Liz,
Oahu.
you have strong ties to Hawaii.
I do. I have a lot of strong. Like that's my second home. Dude.
But you tattooed Makua Rothman, Sonny
no,
Garcia.
not
not
Makua.
Makua.
Makua
Sonny
doesn't have any
Garcia.
tattoos. I tattooed Koa.
Koa Rothman.
I tattooed Mickey Nielsen. I did a tattoo on Mickey Nielsen. Fuck, bro, 25 years ago.
Well,
on
Sonny
the
Garcia
North
about that
Shore.
time too, right?
I tattooed Sonny a lot. Sonny and I were really close.
Stone, his son.
So I tattooed Stone. You know, man, you want to hear a cool story?
Let's hear it.
So Juan Puente, he kind of made the connection between Sonny and I. I actually met Sonny at the
Miami.
Rothman's house.
Oh,
At
North Shore.
Eddie Rothman's house on the North Shore. I went over there with Ryan Rawson, and then I saw Sonny, and I walked over and introduced myself. I'm like, hey, man, I'm Tim. I'm Juan Puente's friend. He's all, oh, yeah. He said you'd be out here this winter and to talk to you. And we talked, and me and him just got along great.
And you
right
were
off
already
the bat.
you were already surfing.
Yes, I've been surfing my whole life.
Perfect. Okay.
So I went to the North Shore way back in early 2000s.
When the North Shore was still kind of the North Shore.
Yeah, but I had already been, yes.
Yes.
But I already been tattooing in town for years before that at my friend Joe Mariconda's shop. This place called Hawaiian Tattoo Company on
Okay.
Kapahulu.
It's still there, huh?
No, it left. It finally left. But Joe still has a rad little private studio, or like kind of a private, but you could walk in.
Right.
Studio upstairs, and you can see the mountains and everything. It's beautiful. And it's just right down the road on Kapahulu.
Okay.
Joe still tattoos there, still one of my good friends. I fucking love that dude. I got to call him. But I got invited to the North Shore through Vans because I was an amateur skateboarder sponsored by Vans.
Oh,
And
right on.
My team manager moved to Surf Team, and he was like, "Hey Tim, you want to jump in on this trip? Because it just says team rider."
Yeah, back then they were just throwing money
Yes.
at all these brands to go down to Hawaii,
Pretty
right?
nice, yeah. So I went and I stayed at the Off the Wall house, the
Wow.
old Off the Wall house, on the North Shore. And he was like, "Can you just tattoo people, And some of them, I'm just gonna if you just tattoo them." And so that's how I met Mickey. And he was like, "Hey, this is Mickey Nielsen," and I'm sitting there. "Oh, hey, nice to meet you, Mickey." I'm like, "Fuck, I know who Mickey Nielsen is, bro. This guy's like fucking, legend from the North Shore."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Nice to meet you," And he wanted to get some flames on his wrists, And Scott was kind of like the team manager at Vans. He goes, "Hey, can you just do this one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. You just tell me."
Right.
And so I just did it because Mickey runs security out there, you know. And so I tattooed Mickey, and I met Christian Fletcher, and I got along immediately great, you know. And he's taking me, introducing me to everyone. We'd go to the Volcom House, and I'd play every night. We'd go to the Volcom House, and we would battle Ty and Chava, Ty Van Dyke and Chava Greenleaf. We'd battle them at foosball, and we play foosball all night.
Now Chava,
he's from Kauai.
Yeah, he is. Is that Kyborg's brother?
Is Chava Kai's brother?
Or are they even related? I want to say they might be related.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
We got to fact check that.
I did meet Borg out there, and I
love
met
Kai Borg.
Yeah, and I met Kamale and Kala Alexander.
Oh, Alexander.
Yeah, and they were super nice to me, and I met Makua obviously because I met Ryan Rawson. So Ryan Rawson and I, that was my connection. Him and I just hit it off perfectly.
Right.
And Ryan, I'm tattooing this fucking Charger, bro. I didn't even know. I'm like, this kid him and Makua just won the Triple X Awards.
No shit.
That year, the year before. And I'm
when
like, I didn't even
had
know.
that 70-foot wave. Is that the one?
Yeah, Ryan told him into it. So I'm tattooing Ryan's foot, and we're talking, and his daughter, who's now his daughters are my goddaughters.
Wow.
Yeah, Kaya, she's a little baby, and I think she was 6 months old. Ryan had just turned 18, and I'm tattooing him. And we just talked about surfing and all that because he was asking me, "You've been surfing?" I'm all, "Yeah, my whole life. My dad was a longboarder from Cali here before he went to Vietnam, and I wanted to surf. He got me back into it. Tell him a whole story, and somehow we talked about toe surfing. I didn't know this guy was fucking some gnarly Charger, North Shore Charger. I'm like, I was like, oh, I've always wanted to do that, man. It seems so fun for me. It's just something I've wanted to do. Who would not want to do that? And he was like, oh, well, fuck, if it gets big enough out here while you're here, I'll take you toe surfing. And I'm like, oh, no way, you toe surf? He's so humble, bro. He's still one of the most humble people I've ever known. He's my business partner for the last 15 years for Saltwater Tattoo.
No shit.
Yeah. I told him, bro, I made you my partner because I can marry you. Like, I never, you know what I mean? You're my homie. You're never leaving my life.
If you were to switch hit, that'd be your partner.
Oh, dude, for sure. But so he goes, well, I'll take you toe surfing. I'm like, oh, man, you toe surf? And he's like, oh, yeah, I do that a little bit.
He was real modest about it.
Really humble and modest. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. And it was the last day. I woke up, man, and you could hear it
Where'd he take you?
The rumble. You know what I mean? You could hear the rumble. I woke up to the rumble. I was like, whoa, it's big today. And then Daisy Shane, she married O'Mayan. I don't know if you know Daisy. She's a real nice person, dude. She came down and she woke me up and says, hey, Tim, Ryan Rawson's on the phone. I'm like, oh, shit, I got butterflies, And I grabbed the phone, and he goes, oh, what's up, brah? You ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'll be ready. He's like, I'll come by and grab you right now. And he came by in this I think it was this white little old beat-up Honda Accord. And he picks me up, and he drives me back to his house right there at Sunset V-Land area. And he kind of, he talks to me about it, how it works, different stuff. And he actually asked Christian Fletcher, he's like, hey, man, you think this guy's okay? I don't want to take him out there and get this dude killed, or he doesn't know what he's doing, kooking out. And Christian was he vouched for me. Christian was like, no, man, he'll handle it. He surfed pipe at midnight the other night with me.
Nice.
I mean, fuck. Dude.
Stealth mission.
Well, Christian Fletcher asked you to surf pipe in the middle of the night under the moon, on the full moon.
Were you drunk?
And I had a few. And I'm like, I'm not going to say no.
No.
I ended up surfing backdoor. Actually, we surfed backdoor, and I made it out of one. The rest of them fucking beat the shit out of me.
At midnight.
Yeah, it was only about 6 foot, but 6 foot on the North Shore is still 6 foot.
I think 6 foot Hawaiian is 12 feet up here in the mainland, huh? Right?
I don't know, but it felt about 5-6 foot Hawaiian,
right.
And we paddled out. So Christian vouched for me, and he's like, no, man, he can handle it. And so Ryan took me out, and I had already been wakeboarding in my life, so I stood right up, no problem. And he just started whipping me into this spot out. It's a spot called Phantoms.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
I think I'm allowed to reveal that spot. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say exactly where it is.
Yeah,
Boys know, but I still am old school. I don't want to reveal anything. But so he took me to this spot called Phantoms, and he was whipping me in, and it was just capping. It wasn't super gnarly. It was I don't know, 15 foot. You know, 12, like maybe 12 to 15 Hawaiian, but it's a fatter wave. You know, it
just
mellow.
crumbles.
Yeah, and it can get gnarly. The left can get pretty, you know, it can get gnarly, but the right, he was just testing me out on the right, you know, and like nice, more mellow, crumbly wave. And man, it was the most fun I think I ever had in my life at the time. I couldn't even believe it. And he whipped me in until I finally was like, fuck, I'm gonna miss my flight. And he rushed me back over to the Van's house, and he goes, hey, man, because we got along so good. He's like, hey, if you ever want to come back, just let me know, man. You can stay with me or whatever.
Nice.
I barely made it on. They were going to leave without me. They were like, I've been fucking calling you. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I didn't want to miss this opportunity. We get in the van. We barely make it there. We get on our flight home. I got home, unpacked, got on the computer, bought a fucking flight. Right out to Hawaii. Right back, like for a month later. I needed to make some money, you know? So I made money, and I called Ryan, and I was like, hey, man, I bought a flight. I'm going to come out there. He's like, now he tells me, he's like, dude, you caught me off guard. I had to ask my mom, hey, mom, is it cool if this guy comes back? He's really nice. Well, who is he? Is he nice? We don't know him. But, man, I'm still close with the family. I just talked to Ryan's mom, I think, 2-3 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and we, you know, I love the family. They're just the best, man, all of them.
I mean, all those connections you made on that trip, right?
Yes, I mean, Ryan actually that summer, he's like, you want to come to Indonesia with the boys? And I was like, I'd love to go to Indonesia. And I was just getting back into surfing at the time. I was on like a long kind of partying, you know, skateboarding, drug run.
You're living.
Yeah, I was living, and I hadn't surfed in a while. So I was getting kind of back into surfing. And man, surfing real waves is different from surfing here. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care how good you surf. I don't care how big your fucking ego is. You come from anywhere on the mainland. I don't care if you're surfing big waves or whatever. You think you're fucking surfing a real 6-8 foot wave. You go to Hawaii and you paddle out on a 6 to 8 foot day in Hawaii, and it is nothing like anything you've ever experienced in your life. Yes. It will fucking beat the shit out of you. If some big local won't, the wave will.
Right. Well, like we said, in those days you were there, they had fucking hierarchy.
It was.
On the North Shore.
Yeah. And I think I got along so well with everyone because that's how my neighborhood was. You know,
you got along with the right people.
I did. I got lucky, you know, and I'm minding my P's and Q's, you know, and I didn't try to paddle out a fucking pipe on some big day. And you know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, those guys are out there making money doing this. This is their life. This is their career. This is how they put food on the table for their families. If they ever gave me a wave out there, anywhere, like on any of those big spots, pipe off the wall, back door, which I would surf sometimes, you know.
Sunset.
But, yeah, if they ever gave me a wave out there, they're literally giving me a piece of their fucking, they're giving me food off their table.
Yeah.
People go out there and they don't understand that. They all want to go out there and be fucking, you know what I mean? The
Cut
guy.
off everybody.
Yeah, just the guy. They want to be, they think they're going to go out there and be the guy. Bro, they fucking learn real fast that, just like I said, if the wave doesn't slap you down pretty hard, a local will. And it's just a different wave, man. It moves faster. It hits harder. It breaks differently. It's a different wave. So if any of you surfers are listening, don't go fucking think you're going to go out to Hawaii and just make some fucking, just jump out there and get the biggest fucking wave, barrel it, pipe. It is not like that. It is not. It's definitely changed out there. Me and my friend Rico.
Yeah, I think it's like
we're just talking about
now,
this, how much different it is out there. Now it's just wild, bro.
Yeah.
So I guess I just met all the right people, you know, and it helps when, you know, you become friends with Sonny Garcia through tattooing him and just being into the same stuff and getting along really well, and you're paddling out of VLAN with Sonny Garcia, and you know what I mean? That helps. I definitely got a lot of waves.
Right. Sad too with Sonny, really sad.
I can't even talk about it, bro. It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
Me. But the cool story about Sonny, what all started this. He called me. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to tattoo Stone. I want you to do his first tattoo." And I was like, "I would fucking love to do Stone's first tattoo." And I don't think I had even met Stone yet, but he drove down early, and maybe I met him. But
did he come here to the shop?
He came here to the shop, to Classic, and he was. You know, we were starting to draw it up and do that, and I was going over with him, and Sonny was a little late. He was meeting him here, and Sonny walked in, bro, and he goes, "Bruh, I've been here." And I go, "Oh, my God." I'm getting tingles telling the story. I go, "Oh, my God, that's right. Juan Puente, the guy who connected us all, Juan got his start tattooing here. See, his Instagram is still Classic Juan.
Holy shit.
After 30 years later, it's still Classic Juan because he got to start here with Eric at Classic Tattoo. And Juan Puente used to tattoo Sonny Garcia here at this shop right here in Fullerton.
Wow.
And he was like, man, I can't even begin to tell you how happy Sonny was that his son was not only going to get his first tattoo from his friend, but get it here at Classic Tattoo where he used to get tattooed when he was younger.
See, this is a special place, dude.
Very special.
This is
and
a
you know what's
special
cool
place.
is Gabe Munoz, Gabe that tattoos here, he surfs. And I came back and I'm drawing up the tattoo and Gabe walks over and he's all, hey bro, is that the champ out there?
He was the world
And I'm
champ.
like, oh yeah, you surf. I'm all, yeah, that's Sonny Garcia. You want to meet him? He's like, I would love to meet Sonny Garcia.
Right
and
on.
I came out and I introduced him to Sonny. And yeah, man, I mean, a lot of fucking, dude, I've tattooed a lot of pro surfers here. A lot of
Billy
pro
Kemper?
Athletes, Billy Kemper.
Yeah.
I love Billy to pieces, dude.
Yeah,
I
Billy
tattooed
Kemper.
Billy here. I tattooed, I've tattooed a lot of pro surfers.
You know what I think it's cool is that these pro surfers come to Fullerton,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, not even close by the ocean, but they come here to get, I think that's fucking cool.
And you know what's
dude.
funny is when they ask, they're like, where do you live? Where's your shop? And I go, oh, it's a little bit inland. It's this place called Fullerton. And you know what I try to equate it to? My friends from especially Oahu, I go, you know what it is? It's like Mililani, bro. It's about 30 minutes inland.
Yeah.
You know, it's about 30 minutes inland. It's a nice town. There's some hills in it, you know, and it's kind of like Mililani,
Yeah.
you know. But Fullerton has its it has its wine ice. You know what I mean? It has its little wine night area, you know, that's a little bit more gritty and tougher.
Well, like you said, that is one time.
Or Wahiwa,
yeah.
you know?
Or there's this one time you said you had your, what is it, your cutlass?
I actually don't even want to tell that story.
Let's skip that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
you know, I
we'll
like the
skip that
cutlass.
story. Yeah.
I like the cutlass, and I like
Thank
what
you.
Scoot did with all the hand painting.
Yeah, he just put me and my wife's song on the
like
side. It's perfect. I've always wanted to own a G-body,
Uh-huh.
and I finally in a position where I can. And I finally got hydraulics. You know, that was the first time I've ever had hydros in my whole life. I've had airbags and lowriders my
Really?
whole life. And I never could afford having a good
What do you have, 2
hydro
pumps?
system. I have 2 pumps, 2 batteries, yeah. So a nice, clean, simple little system. But Christian, he goes by Cruisewell on Instagram, Christian. He did it, and it's fucking beautiful. People look at it and they're like, this is like one of the, he does something.
Yeah, what he did to your car is very nice.
Thank
very
you. And
nice,
man, I've always just wanted to hop my car. And the kids love it. I take them to fucking soccer practice, you know what I mean?
You're the cool guy.
I drop the thing down, and then Rocky goes, Dad, make it bounce. And I fucking hop the front, as we're driving along, and he loves it. And it's like, fuck it, man. It's just a piece of metal with rubber tires. It's just fun.
But-
Life
and-
is about having fun.
Yeah, and it's memories too with your kids, right?
Memories,
It's memories, man.
yeah. They'll tell their friends, oh yeah, my dad had a lowrider. He used to jump it and hop it around, you know.
And then a couple years back, right, there was a scare with your hand, right? The motorcycle accident you had.
Yeah. So I
was bummed. I didn't tell you, I was bummed. I told Dana, I was like, fuck.
people were tripping.
I was like, man, I don't think, because I didn't know all the information.
Well, so here's what happened. I was riding Thanksgiving week out of Ocotillo Wells. It's a huge place where, it's like the only national park for off-road vehicles. It's amazing. So I was riding, and I went down, and it was a simple one. It wasn't even a bad one. Man, I've fucking flown off that thing, wadded up and flown off my dirt bike. This is another reason why me and Sonny got along so good. We love dirt bikes.
Yeah, he's a dirt bike rider too.
Yeah. So I just did a simple fall, man, and my bike, I got tangled up with my bike because it like bermed around. I tried to get away from it. It bermed around, and it tangled up, and when I fell, I put my hand back, went right in the back wheel.
Fuck.
And so dude, this is like a career-ending injury. It was
I know.
fucked up. So I had broken, I think there was over 20-something fractures in my hand. It was a mess. One bone, you know where the bone comes down and makes a thing like this, like the ball joint on the bone? That that ball joint exploded. It was in like...
So there's fragments.
It was in like 10 pieces. Yeah, and so all the bones were also ripped out of their socket and on top of my wrist bones. So my hand looked like it shrunk. Dude, Liz was like, she didn't even want to look at it. She saw it, and she said it didn't even look like a hand anymore. It looked like it was fucking all mangled. This one was so dislocated, my finger was pointing up to the sky. It was just like this deformed mess. And I couldn't ride. One of my cousins was like, "You don't think you can ride back?" He didn't see it yet, and I pulled off the glove, and he went, "Oh my God!" And so we had to see this person in a buggy came and gave me a ride back to camp, and my cousin's son rode my bike back. And I told my wife, I was calm. I've just lived in pain for so long, my whole life. I'm so chill with it, and I just went, "Hey, you need to make me an overnight bag. I'm not coming home tonight, probably from the hospital. I don't know what's wrong yet." And man, I got there and I was calling, my doctor friend, my ER doctor friend worked at the hospital. So he's like talking to them and telling them like, "Dude, this is not a fucking just a minor handbrake, And he's all, "You're going to let them do a reduction. So they're going to put bones back in place as best they can and get ready for surgery." And he's all, "You're going to talk to the surgeon and ask her how long you have, what time window you have, because you're not going to get the surgery from her. She's only 3 years out of her fellowship, dude."
Oh, shit.
You need. And so I got on the horn with this guy who's a friend of a family of Javier De Luna. He knows him really well, or knows him. And it's the same guy who fixed Ken Roxon's arm. He was a motocross guy that got his whole arm and hand caught in the back wheel of his dirt bike. And he put Ken Roxon's arm back together. That guy was never supposed to ride again. He's like winning races.
Fuck.
So he's in fucking Vail, Colorado. Same place Billy Kemper went to fix his hip. So I went and I stayed with my sister and I went up to the surgeon. Dude, I fucking stayed in the hospital all night, drove home that morning, went to bed, woke up on Thanksgiving Day, flew out to see my sister, stayed the night at her house, and the next morning I was prepped for surgery, up at the hospital, prepped for surgery, and got my first surgery. It took 3 surgeries. Wow. 2 to put it back together, and 1 to take out all the hardware. So if you want to insert photos, I have photos of all this shit too.
Fuck yeah.
So the first surgery, I woke up and he's all, "Tim, I got good news and I got bad news." This guy's great, Dr. Randy Viola, incredible hand surgeon, rad dude
Colorado.
too. Colorado, Vail, Colorado. He goes, "Tim, I got good news and I got bad news." I'm all, "Okay, well, what's the bad news?" He's all, "Bad news is I couldn't put it back together in 1 surgery. I need another surgery." Because, dude, they got to tourniquet your arm so there's no blood flow so you can see what he's doing in there. He's like doing microsurgery, putting fragments of bone back together, all this shit. And I'm like, all right, what's the good news? And he's all, "The good news is, man, when I first saw that CT, I was like, man, I can't put his hand back together all the way. Like, he's going to have problems." He's all, "But you know what, man? I think I can get it over 90%. I think I can get your hand back together really well." And I'm like, all right, that's good news. And he's like, "But I need another go at it. So you want to fly home to California, come back in a few weeks or something?" And I'm like, "I could do that, And he's like, "Or you could stay here with your sister." And my sister was right there, and she's like, "You could stay with me."
I remember you stayed.
Yeah. And he's like, "You could stay here in 5 days. If the swelling's gone down enough, I can do it in 5 days." And I'm like, "I'll stay here. Is that cool? I just want to get it over with."
Right.
So I stayed with my sister, and I had to keep my hand above my heart for 5 straight days, doing this as much as I could. He's all, "Try to, pump your hand and get the swelling out." This is as much as I could do. Like, that's it. So I just did that for 5 days. I had to pack pillows around my arm and sleep with my hand up like this. I was constantly trying to keep it above my heart to get the swelling down. And in 5 days, he looked down and he's all, "Yeah, I think we could do it."
Question, were you on pain meds for that too?
I was. I had to be on pain medication. But I only took, so what I did is I took this stuff called Tramadol. And it doesn't get you as high as, say, Oxycontin, or one of those. And there was a couple of moments where it got me, it kind of fucked with my head a little bit. And I don't want to be in that place anymore. I don't want to fucking be in that place. It's a place. It was all too familiar feeling, and it made me feel gross. And I don't want to fucking be in that place anymore. But also, I still talk, dude. I may not go to AA meetings all the time or whatever like I used to, here and there.
Still have your sponsor?
Very rarely. Still have my sponsor. He's one of my best friends.
Right
so I
on.
call him up and I just stay accountable. I'm like, "Hey, bro, I'm going to be on these pain meds. I'm going to take Tramadol now instead." And it doesn't get me all loaded, and it really helps with the pain. So I work through it, and I do well with pain.
How's your hand?
My hand is a fucking rock now, dude. This is my good hand. There's a little bit of like
Scar tissue,
that I can still feel some stiffness on the top. But man, this is my fucking good hand now. And this was my bad hand before, and he did a carpal tunnel release, and he cleaned up stuff. Fuck, man, I wish he would have. I got to have this hand done. But man, my left hook now when I box is fucking solid. Like this is my good hand. And he cut right around all the tattoos and,
It still
made
looks
it look
like it's
nice.
still in place.
Everything's good. I mean, it'll never be the same, but that's how injuries are.
I'm kind of curious to see how it looked, when they had to tourniquet your arm from no blood going through.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I wonder if they had to release and go.
Yeah, to get a little blood flow. I don't know,
Yeah.
but he could only work on it for a few hours.
Oh, okay, that was my next question. How long was that?
Yeah, a few hours longer to go in there.
Fuck, so I'm glad because I was worried. I was like, fuck, I told Dana, I was like, man, hopefully Tim can tattoo again, dude,
Yeah, and it's funny, people are like, oh, it wasn't your tattoo hand. And I'm like, this is the hand that does the most work.
See?
Everyone thinks your tattoo hand is the one that does the work, but it's like you're just holding the machine.
That one's spreading the skin.
I could literally probably make a prosthetic that held my machine, and I could fucking tattoo with as long as I can move my upper arm, my shoulder, and a little bit of my elbow, right? But this hand is stretching and pushing and moving and doing all this stuff. It's a lot more difficult without this hand. I know a guy, a tattoo artist, that lost his arm. He's lost his right arm. Down from right here, and he had to learn how to tattoo left-handed. And he says that's the hardest part about certain spots where you need to stretch and do all that. But he learned to tattoo left-handed. He got in a car accident, and everyone got out and was checking on each other, and they're all, you okay, you okay? And he's all, man, I realized everyone was looking at me, and they were like, fuck. They were looking at me like, oh, sorry, my alarm's going off.
Arm's gone.
And he was like, fuck, everyone's looking at me like I'm not okay. And I looked down the ground, and I saw an arm on the ground. And I went, whoa, those tattoos look familiar.
Holy shit.
And he was looking at his arm, man. He picked it up, and they went to the hospital, and they couldn't reattach it.
Oh, that fucking
And he
sucks.
thought his career was over. And fuck, man, this guy rips at tattooing. He's such a nice guy, super humble.
Was he out of Cali?
No, I don't think he's out of Cali. I'm not sure. Well, maybe he is. But now he's sponsored by, Bishop Rotary and all that. Like people
cool.
do sponsorships now with tattooing, and he's always on their team, and he's crushes it, does beautiful tattoos, one-handed, with his opposite, with the one he did learn how to tattoo with. He had to relearn.
Okay, here's one of the questions I have for you now.
Yeah.
Your favorite old school tattoo artist? Oh. I know there's a lot.
Man, that's rough.
Well, let's just say you're Mount Rushmore.
Still alive? It's because there's old schoolers that are still alive.
Well, let's go dead and alive. You're Mount Rushmore of tattoo artists, old school.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a hard one. Because
Everybody contributed.
I don't necessarily care how good they are. I also care about how good of a human being they are, what type of person, So a lot of the old ones that are, the dead ones, I don't know. I don't know how they were as a human, Well, there's some that I did know, like Mike Brown, Jack Rudy, all those guys, Bob Roberts. I knew them as humans, and I had personal relationships with them. But if I could go with one that I never met and I just admire the tattoos that they did.
Well, okay, let's rephrase the question. If there's one tattoo artist that you haven't met that you could sit down and just chop it up.
Yeah, that I've never met.
Yeah, let's do that.
That I could chop it up with. Oh, shit.
Fuck, I guess any question would be hard because the tattoo world is just...
Man. Maybe Charles Wagner, this old guy because he built tattoo machines too. And was like one of the first inline machines, like that we use now.
Right.
And it would be interesting to talk about how tattoo stuff, ask questions and find out. It'd be like a time travel. It'd be like I get to go back to the future and ask him what tattooing is like then and how he feels about it then. And then be able to show him what tattooing is like now and ask him what he thinks about how it is
about
now.
The rotaries?
About, just everything. The craziness of all of it now and this tattoo craze we're in. I think I would like to talk with somebody that old, like over 100 years.
See, because in his day, sanitation wasn't as good as it is today, right?
No, they didn't have to worry about a lot of the stuff like that,
Fuck.
I only started first wearing gloves over 30 years ago because I was sick of cleaning all the ink out from under my fingernails.
That's crazy.
We didn't put bags on our spray bottles. And
no.
This is all recent shit, You know
what?
And then you started getting the sterile police at the shop. They're like, you have to do this and all. And I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up, dude. Relax.
Yeah, you own a tattoo shop?
Okay. You're gonna be okay. No one's transferring fucking disease from one client to the next client. That's so fucking rare, bro. It is so rare. If your tattoo artist is just somewhat clean and adhering to those standards, you're gonna be fine. Relax.
What would you think, or what would you say to people that don't have tattoos that want to get tattoos? What would be the biggest concern? Clean needles?
Yeah, everyone's
clean
fucking
surface,
clean
or-
now because most people are using cartridges now, and those you dispose of. So all the needles are clean. All the needles are clean.
I remember
That's
before
totally
they had
fine.
their own sterilizers, right?
What would I say? I would say, my God, look for healed photos. Holy shit. You have the most unrealistic viewpoint of all these just done tattoos on Instagram. It is so unrealistic to look on Instagram and see all
most
these
of them are
just
fresh.
done tattoos.
Yes.
They're all fucking fresh. These just done tattoos, and think that like that's what I'm gonna get, this tiny little just done tattoo, and it's gonna look like that forever. And it's a lie. These tattooers are lying. They're manipulating their photos. They're putting all these fucking fresh tattoos. I've looked at profiles and seen not one healed photo. Not one. And been like, you're fucking lying. You're lying to these people saying this is what your tattoos are gonna look like. And they're not. So, and don't get me wrong, you look at mine and most of them are just done, but there's a lot of healed photos on there.
Right.
And I'll put healed photo, and I'll say how long sometimes. It'd be like over a year old, and you have to look for that. So I think people, they want to buy the brand. They want to buy the accessory.
they're
And
just
that's
selling.
fine. And here's the deal. I may sound like I'm complaining, but I'm selling accessories too, you know?
Right.
But I'm selling it in an ethical way where they're conscious of why I think they shouldn't get their tattoo that small. Why I'm doing it a certain way and adding an outline or a certain thing to this. Why, like a white fucking tattoo, all white is going to turn most likely yellowish, and it's going to change, and it's not going to. And there's these ethics that you kind of got to stick to. And you know what? Some may disagree. This is just my viewpoint based on over 33 decades of tattooing and seeing tattoos age and heal, and what inks are the best, what this is the best, what this is the best. So like when you come to me and you sit down and you pay X amount of dollars for a 30-minute fucking tattoo, and you're like, I can't believe I paid this much for a 30-minute tattoo. You didn't pay for 30 minutes. You paid for 3 fucking decades of my knowledge. Plain and simple.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So I think what I would tell people searching for a tattoo now, especially this generation, is look for healed photos. Look for healed photos.
Right.
Research the tattoo artist too, and go in if you can and just fucking talk to them. Get a feel, have a little consultation or whatever. And also,
Have an open fucking mind.
Have an open mind. And also, most of the time you get what you pay for, you know, except if you're going, some people have these fancy private studios and you're getting this tattoo from this Instagram famous person.
Right.
And they charge you $1,000 fucking dollars for this little tiny script name.
Single needle.
Yeah, single needle. And in 5 years, it's going to be a pile of mush, and you just paid $1,000.
Right.
You're literally going and searching now for a cover-up for over $1,000 fucking tattoo,
Well, like we talked about, right? Hopefully people watching this podcast will take what you're saying as inspiration and as fucking, oh shit, you know what? Let me add that to my fucking holster right here.
Hopefully.
Right?
And you know what? Fuck, it's just my opinion on things, and people can have a difference of opinion, and that is 100% okay.
Yeah. But you have 30 years of opinions.
Yeah, but 30
30
years
years.
of knowledge.
It's nuts. And like I said, when I first came here, I didn't tell you this before, but when I first came to this tattoo shop, you know what movie popped into my head? I walked in, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like I said, there's an aura, there's a vibe. The movie that popped into my head was, you remember American Me?
Oh, the shop at the beginning?
In the beginning with the dad. Yeah, the dad.
Yeah. That LA shop.
It reminded me of that. I was like, holy fuck, this reminds me of American Me. With the riots going on outside. And I was thinking, fuck, that's the vibe
That was
I got.
the Zoot Suit riots.
The Zoot Suit riots. And I was thinking, fuck, this is the vibe I'm getting. I was thinking, holy fuck.
That was that was a real old tattoo parlor, and all the flash in it, my friend actually acquired
Really?
and got all that original old flash
Fuck.
from that tattoo parlor.
And Flash, for those
I
that
had a
don't
chance
know,
to buy some of it, but I didn't have the funds at the time.
yeah, people that don't know, Flash is worth a lot of money. Original Flash.
It can
right?
be, it can be worth a lot of money to the right person. It's just, it's all we have. It's so historic, you know. There's a piece of Flash in here that I have over there. You've seen it. I think I've told you about it. Freddie Corbin gave me that sheet to put in this shop, and he acquired it from Jonathan Shaw. Yeah, he acquired it from Jonathan Shaw many years ago, and it came from, like, if I recall, it came from an English sailing port in Sri Lanka during World War I.
Wow.
So the Flash is from 1918. It's over 100 years old. I'll provide a photo.
Wow, yeah, please.
It's over 100 years old. It's all broken apart, and so I finally had it archivally framed and put in a nice, with nice museum glass and all that shit.
Uh-huh.
And it's in the shop, and that's our oldest sheet that I know of in the shop. But we got sheets all over there from the 1930s. You know, there's a coal-burning battleship on one of those sheets.
Fuck.
A coal-burning battleship from the 1920s or 30s. So this is all history, man. And you know what's beautiful about it is, like, these old designs, they're never going to go out of style.
No.
They looked cool then, they look cool now, and they're going to look cool in another 100 years.
Yeah.
You know what? They're like fucking 501 jeans, bro. They're never going out of style. Like, it's just cool. And getting those tattoos is cool. And now it's nice because it's kind of making a little bit of a comeback.
It
Go
is.
through waves. But, like, people are coming in and picking shit off the wall again, which I think is so rad, man.
Yeah.
And that's a neat thing, you know. And so all these designs, like, it's so funny when I see a traditional tattooer, like, going online being like, this fucking guy stole my design. Look, he did this tattoo that's on my Flash, or that I did, he copied it. And I'm like, oh my God, fucking relax, bro. Like, it's all repetitive designs.
Right.
You're not some, like, creating something new here, dude. Relax. It all comes from the subconscious. It all comes from these things, images you've seen anyways in the past, even if you think it's fucking
And you just
new.
put little.
You're not creating anything new. It's just, it is what it is, you know. It's just repetitive designs. Copyrights and patents, when it comes to tattooing, is mostly a fucking ego trip. So, like,
Wow.
just chill out, dude, and just stay in your lane and keep making your tattoos, and be grateful that you've got to live I'm grateful I got to live a 30-year weekend, bro. I got to dress how I want to dress, show up at work at noon, and live a 30-year fucking weekend. So just relax.
And you get the ability to tell someone
crazy.
to fuck off and get out my shop.
Yeah, I can. But you know what? Nowadays, that's hard because they'll go and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to write a bad review. I came in and acted like a total fucking bitch, and then they told me to leave, and now I'm going to tell them how I feel. It's like, oh, my God.
Man, this fucking generation of that is just pathetic, huh?
Yeah.
It's just
And
pathetic.
it is what it is. And you know what, though? I was always really nice to people, you know, because they don't know, man. People come in and they don't know. They don't know that they're asking a stupid question that we've been asked 1,000
Right.
times. They don't know that. They're new to tattooing. They're curious, and they're also intimidated because they're in a tattoo shop, and they're, you know what I mean? They're nervous. And we need to remember that and treat it as such, you know? So that's why, you see it. You've been in here a lot.
Yeah.
When you walk into my shop, it is not some cool, you don't get cool guide.
No.
You get fucking, hey, how's it going? Come on in. What's going on? What do you guys want to get? You guys have an appointment, or are you coming in for a walk-in?
Yeah.
Like, we make people feel
It's
comfortable.
inviting.
Yes, it's inviting because tattoo shops for a very long time had an uninviting feel.
Oh, yeah.
And they still do.
Yeah.
People still think, oh, yeah, I'm a cool tattooer, man. I'm gonna tough guy these people. Like, get the
Real
fuck out
prick,
of here
yeah,
with
they'd
that
be
shit.
real pricks.
Stop being such a cool guy, dude. Nobody's fucking cool. We're all just trying to get through life the best way we can.
Yeah.
You know,
And support our family.
yeah, dude. Some of them are single moms, dude, and they're going to try to fucking pick up their kids from school. They're calling their sister to pick up the kids so they can finish getting their tattoo. They're all living their lives, and so we try to treat that as such. And I answer these ridiculously stupid questions because, you know, in reality, the only bad questions are the ones that go unasked.
Yeah.
You know, and so we make them feel comfortable, and you can do all of that shit and still have this badass fucking old school gritty tattoo shop, you know. And that's, I don't know, that's what I try to kind of accomplish here.
Oh, I think you've accomplished it, dude. I
Thank you.
love coming here. I can fucking, like I told earlier, I can fucking come here and just hang out and just watch people come in, the different walks of life that come in,
Yeah.
the different conversations you guys get back there. Fuck, anything, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. But I have another question for you.
Okay.
Who's hotter in person? Kat Von D or Megan Massacre?
Megan.
Way hotter. I think she's
Her
hot.
personality is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. Personality is a lot to it.
Megan is just the all-around one of the nicest human beings
Yeah.
I've ever known. She is so cool. She's got this amazing sense of humor. She's a good human being. She fucking rips at tattooing. She's such an incredible tattooer. All the way around, Megan over Kat Von D, no matter what. As a human, as a tattooer, as a fucking business owner, you know what I mean? Sense of humor.
Well, shit, Megan
All the way
Massacre it
around.
is.
Megan Massacre is one of my
Fuck,
favorite people.
Man, and where's she based out of?
She's based out of New York.
In New York.
Yeah.
I always thought she was hot on the show.
Megan? Oh, yeah. She's
I was like,
she's
man,
adorable,
she,
dude.
and in the beginning,
She's
she wasn't
adorable.
that tatted, right? She wasn't that tatted.
Yeah.
But now she's fucking.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like she was pretty tatted.
Yeah?
I don't know. Yeah,
You know who's that, Reed?
Megan's just cool, man.
Megan Massacre. Dude, I think she's hot.
Yeah, she's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's good. Ammy.
Yeah.
He's a martial artist by fucking nature.
Dude, Ammy's been doing martial arts his entire fucking life.
Is he still tattooing?
Yeah, I think he still tattoos. You know, he's had a bunch of hand surgeries. He has had
Really?
issues with his hands. One of them is because of fighting. Well, actually, he came home and there was an intruder in his house, in his apartment in New York. And Ammy, I'm not kidding you. I kid you not. Hit that dude so hard, he fucking flew off the balcony 2 stories, landed on the ground on his back, and got up and ran off.
No shit.
And he broke his fucking hand doing it, and he's had nothing but problems ever since in his hand because of that.
Yeah, that
He doesn't train anymore.
Or he doesn't?
Because he doesn't want to.
Oh,
Yeah, he wants
because-
to keep his hands as long as possible and be able to tattoo. But Ammy is probably one of the toughest individuals I've ever met in my entire
Fuck.
life. He was also in the Israeli army
That's right.
and was like a sniper in the army. He was it mandatory. He had to do it. He had to go back to Israel and serve his time and then fucking, you know, like illegally immigrate back into the country, which that's a whole gnarly story. I don't know if you want me telling it, but he said it was the most scary. 2 years in the fucking in firefights and shit in the Israeli army, and said immigrate coming back into the fucking country and crossing the border, and the people he had to go through to do it, and all the thing. That adventure he said was gnarlier than his whole fucking thing in the army.
Holy
He
shit.
said it scared him more. It was gnarly. Yeah.
Because I like that the episode that always stuck out to me in New York Inc. was the one that tattooers and they fought.
They fought.
They went into
you
the
know what
basement
happened?
or
It
something
was
and
funny
they fought.
because Ammy's been doing everything, martial arts and Muay Thai and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit, and kickboxing and jujitsu.
So go
and-
fuck him up.
Yeah, and regular boxing his whole life. And so yeah, that guy Chris, who was on the show,
Yeah.
the producer set this up. Yeah, we set it up so downstairs they're gonna like do a little match. I'm not gonna have them hit them in the face, but they're gonna do other stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna fight. And he's all, yeah, I think it'd be good and it'd be fun. He's all, and you know, Ammy doesn't know this, but Chris has been doing kickboxing for like 5 years. And I was all, oh wow. And I just kept my mouth shut.
That would be
And
interesting.
Ammy just fucking pummeled
Oh,
him.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't even a challenge, you know?
But-
And I just watched the whole thing, and then afterwards, I'm all, oh yeah, did you know that Ammy's been doing martial arts since he was like a fucking child?
And
You
went
know?
to the Israeli army.
Yeah, and was, you know, special forces trained and all that shit.
Since we're on the subject, how different is it, or how was it tattooing in front of cameras on the show?
Fucking awful.
Sucks,
Everyone
right?
says, they're like, oh, they think, dude, let me explain a day of tattooing at fucking in Miami Inc. or New York Inc. You get to the shop, your call time's fucking 8:30. If you're lucky, your call time's 10:30. You get to the shop, you're hanging out, you're miking up, you're doing all this stuff. Was that not closed? Sorry, hold on. Let me
No,
start
you're
that
good.
over.
You're good.
Yeah, that's here. Yeah, thank you. Was it not closed?
No,
Here, let me lock it.
I got it. Oh, no.
Here. Ah, there it is. Okay. We would have had to open it for that anyways. All right, so I'll just jump in and talk about, I'll start.
Yeah.
So, tattooing on television fucking sucks, dude. It is one of the worst, it's one of the worst experiences for in a tattoo setting. You get to this, your call time's like fucking 8:30. If you're lucky, your call time's 10:30. You get to the shop and then you mic up and you get ready. And then what they do is they go, okay, we have a client for you. Sometimes you know what you're going to tattoo. Sometimes they want it to be a surprise because they want your reaction on the surprise of the tattoo. So then you're waiting around for hours because they're prepping the fucking client. They're doing an interview with the client. And the interview is like, oh, you know, this is why I want the tattoo. This is this. They tell the whole story, everything. And you're like, oh my God, the interview is fucking taking forever. So then 2 hours later, dude, after you're done miking up, after you're done getting prepared, you do the consultation. And then the client comes in for the consultation. And then you meet them, and you go, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then they leave, and then they have to come back in. And then you're filming close-ups of the, Tim, can you do a close-up of moving around the photo, pointing at it? You were pointing at it right here. And you do all these little, this little edits. Yeah, all these little edits that they're going to throw in during the consultation. And then they got to bring them back, and they got to interview them again after the consultation. How did you feel that your consultation went? How do you feel that this? Blah, blah, blah. And then you're being interviewed. They pull you over and you're standing on a fucking milk crate and they're talking to you and, and they're like, so what did you think about the tattoo? Do you think you'd be able to do this to it? What do you, and you're like, yeah, and you're trying to be enthusiastic about it and you're already drained, bro. You've been at the fucking shop 5 hours. You haven't even started tattooing yet. And then they go, okay, I'm going to draw for the tattoo. So then you're drawing for the tattoo, and then your client's waiting, and then you're getting it ready, and then you're like, all right, I'm done drawing, bring him back in. Oh, no, Tim, sorry. Chris is tattooing now, so we're going to do your reveal of the drawing in a couple hours after he's done tattooing. So then more hours go by. By the way, there's no music in the shop because it fucks up audio. There's nothing going on. It's dead fucking quiet except this a machine going on. So you're just like fucking like, oh my God, dude, I'm losing my mind here. You can't go too far because they need you. So you might walk across the street, grab, a colada, a little Cuban coffee or something, drink a colada, hang out, Then, oh my God, I finally get to show them the tattoo. They like it. Okay, go ahead and sit down. Let me get set up and we'll start the tattoo. So then, another interview. How did you feel that they liked? Do you think that she liked the tattoo? Do you think this? Yeah, well, I feel like, such and such, was into it. And I did the thing, and they liked what I put into the tattoo and incorporated this with it. And then they're back there talking real quick, too. And then I'm finally ready to tattoo.
One tattoo a day.
Hours, bro, hours. One tattoo a day. And then they bring it back in. I finally get to tattoo. To no music. No anything, no conversation. You're not allowed to talk to the person. So now I'm sitting there tattooing this person, and we can't do story beats yet, where you sit in there and you're talking with the person. They're telling their magnificent story about this tattoo they're getting, which some of them had amazing stories, man. Amazing stories. And I loved hearing them, but I wasn't allowed to talk to them until we were set up and the cameras were set up. But they were doing other shit. They had the cameras. They only have so many cameras, so they're doing other shit. So then I'm fucking tattooing this person, and they're like, so you want, and I'm all, oh, sorry, man. We can't talk about this because this is important shit. We just have to wait. I know it's weird. So I would have this whole conversation with them about that. I'd be like, hey, it's going to be super weird. We're going to quietly sit and tattoo because this is important stuff, our interaction. But just know, I can't wait to hear your story, man. It's going to be exciting, and we're going to have a great time. But I just want you to know I'm going to tattoo, and I'm not talking, not because I'm just awkward and weird. I'm not talking because I want it to be beautiful and really important. And they're like, oh, okay. And so I have this little thing. And I'm like, man, this is the fucking producer's job. They need somebody to come around and talk to these people and prep them for this so they know. So it's not awkward. But I'm like, well, this is my job. So I do that. And I'm sitting there tattooing, and it's quiet. And finally we get to fucking do the story beats. And we're talking, and I hear their story. Man, by this time, I'm fucking done, you don't even want to hear it, bro. I am done. I'm so over this tattoo and uninspired, but I have to muster it up. I have to find the energy to do it. So I give them the tattoo, and then they go, okay, Tim, call us back when you're ready to do the white. And then I got to call them. I'm going to do the white. And I got to get cameras over, and one of them's filming me doing the white because that's the money shot. And then we do the reveal. And then I go, okay, go over there, and they get everything set up. And you got to wait for them to get set up. And then they go over the reveal spot, the window, you know, or the mirror. And they go over, and I'm in a position. I go, do you like it? And they're like, oh my God, I love it. And they cry, and I give them a hug, and it's cool. And then I'm like, all right, well, hey, you know, there's no money exchanged. And that would happen in shop, but they don't show that. And I go, all right, hey, it was so nice to meet you, man. I hope that works out, you know, or I hope that blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then they leave.
That's right.
And they
There's
go,
no
all right,
money
all right,
exchange.
All right. I'll bring them back in. And then they're sitting there and go, they want like one more, you know, goodbye. And I'm like, all right, and we got to do a whole nother goodbye. And we got to pretend like we're doing a whole nother goodbye. And then they get them out of there. And then they do their whole post-tattoo interview. And then I'm just like, hey, man, come on, let's just do my fucking OTF. It's fucking 8 o'clock at night. I want to get to dinner with my friends, dude. 8 o'clock at night, dude. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, hold on. The camera's tied up over here, but we'll get you. And then I do my OTF on the fly. I do my OTF with them, and I say, yeah, man, it was great, blah, blah, blah. And then I tell them, like, are we good? Are we good? And they're like, you're good. You're good to go. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm taking off my mic. And they're like, don't touch your mic, because we take them off too rough. You know, it's $400 mic, dude. So they come over, they take off the mic, they rip the fucking tape off my chest. And then I'm finally gone. And I'm just like so drained, and it was such a fucking nightmare, you know. But the thing is you start to get used to it, you get through the routine, but it becomes a real job. And I got into tattooing to not have to go to, you know, they say if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. Well, you do work, but you love what you do. It starts to take all the fun and the beauty and the love out of what you love to do.
That's what happened to me on Top Chef.
Yeah, so when your when your release of stress starts to become your source of stress, that becomes really confusing and difficult. You know, and I'm just like, oh
start
my
resenting
God.
it.
Yeah, some of the guys, man, I'll be honest, some of the guys in Miami, they didn't tattoo for a little while. They hated tattooing for a little while after that because it ruined it for them.
Yeah.
And they had to gradually find that love again for tattooing.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that when you said your tattooing there's no sound. Yeah, when we did Top Chef, there's no fucking sound.
No music.
Nothing.
No inspiration. Bro, I would fucking light incense. I would light an incense stick. I hate incense in the tattoo shop. You know, at home, cool. You know what I mean? It's different. You know, but incense, I don't like it at a tattoo shop, and I would light incense right next to my station. So at least one of my senses was stimulated, you know? And because I had nothing for this stimulation.
And there's always a fucking camera in your face, right? There's always a camera in your face. Yeah. It's nuts, dude.
I've had cameras hit me in the head while I was tattooing.
That's nuts.
I'm just like, one time this guy, Pete, he was great. He was the DP, director of photography in New York. And he just gave me a whack in the head by accident, you know, and I like just stopped and I looked at him. And it was funny. He was so cool, man. I loved working with Pete and Rachel. And Pete just like kind of stepped aside and he's all, sorry, Tim. Like that. And I'm like, it's all right, Pete.
Okay.
You know? And he's like, okay. And he got back in, you know, and it was like kept his 6 inches away. But, you know, because they're doing their job and they're getting into it and getting that nice close-up and they just go bonk and hit you in the head of the person doing a tattoo.
So New York or Miami?
What is Miami?
Miami?
Fucking love Miami, bro.
I bet.
I love Miami. I would have moved there if there was more waves.
Okay, so
like moved there permanently. I lived there for a while, and I kept a place there for like 4 years with my roommate Maddie from New York.
I lived there. I lived in Florida for a year.
Oh, okay.
But I lived up more north, Deerfield Beach.
Oh, I never been to that spot.
Yeah, Deerfield and Delray is where I lived for a little bit.
You know, and I like other parts of Florida. But man, Miami is just like, it's a whole nother fucking, it should be its whole own country. You know, it's like, it's dope as fuck. And I love, like, I guess I just felt real comfortable there because I grew up in, you know, Hispanic neighborhood. You know, it was predominantly Hispanic. And so it just felt really comfortable for me with so many different Latin cultures in this one spot and so many different cultures all together into one place, you know, so many different races and cultures and foods and
food especially.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, New York has food too.
It was such a real melting pot and everybody was fucking getting along and it was such a mutual respect for each other's culture and place and where you come from. And it was beautiful, man. I still talk to a lot of my friends out there. I was just texting My friend the other night, he's sober now too. A bunch of us got sober together, and he's still sober. And I text him just to check in and see how he was doing.
Especially in Miami, real easy to get the white stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, easy to get everything, anything. It was wild, bro. But you know what? After I got sober, I remember going back and being like, "Yo, how's this place gonna fucking be when I come back? Is this gonna suck? Like, is this gonna be?" I mean, I was kind of worried about it. And man, I had just as much fun. I was out all night with Marky, the guy who fucking drove me to the hospital. I was out all night with him. My wife would honestly, she texted me and was like, "Hey, it's like 2 a.m. in Miami and you're still out. Are you okay?" Type of shit. You know, I'm like, "No, I'm with Mark. We're at the
she was there.
Yeah, we're at the hip hop club or a hip hop room at this club. You know, and then we're running over to bed, and we're gonna hang out there for a little bit, say hi to somebody. Like I had a blast just drinking fucking ginger ales,
right,
and hanging out with my friends and eating at Nobu, and you know what I mean. Like
it must have been surreal though, right? This time you're sober, and you're in Miami.
It was different. Being sober is hard, man. When you've built your whole career, especially an artistic career, because artists are notoriously
they have vices, a lot of vices.
A lot of vices, you know, whether you're a musician, whether you're a painter, whether you're, artists, people who create have always had issues with drugs and alcohol. And a
lot of chefs.
Like it was hard for me because there was this stagnant period I went through when I got sober where I just couldn't really find that inspiration and creativity because that's where all my creativity came from. But I tell people this, from what I've learned, which I think has helped a lot of artists that I've known, especially tattoo artists who's gotten sober, is I say, hey man, you need to accept that there's some places you're never going to get to spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and artistically sober, now that you're sober, that you could get to when you were loaded. But now that I've been sober for a while, I can get to so many more and better places, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and artistically sober that I could never get to when I was loaded.
Probably a lot more clarity too, huh?
A lot more clarity, a lot more remembering, and it's just different. And now that I'm so fucking emotional now that I have feelings and shit because I'm sober, that I use that into my art and into my paintings now, and so I definitely will choose this over being loaded. And now I'll be honest, if I was loaded now, I'd be dead because the whole fentanyl wave, man, is a whole nother fucking thing. And there's no way I would have survived it, and I'd be fucking dead for sure. And I don't want to be dead.
No,
at least not yet.
Especially with the kids, your family.
Yeah.
With everything going on with the shop and just life, how you just enjoy life.
Amazing, man. Before, don't get me wrong, like Liz has said to me, she's all, you fucking miss it, huh? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I miss it. I missed the party and living in Miami. And also, man, we had the keys to the city. We were the guys from Miami Inc.
Fuck, see?
We could get into every club, and we had every connection, and we fucking, dude, you don't roll up to a club with a massive crowd and line out front in Miami, one of the biggest clubs, and then roll in with 6 dudes with no girls.
Yeah.
And still get front of the line. Like, that don't happen, bro. But we were running it like that. It was great. And of course I miss it. I had more unadulterated, raw fun than I've ever had in my entire life. And I got to fucking hang out with all these famous people and all that stuff. But man, I would wake up.
And what made it good was the time. The time period too, right?
The time frame was amazing.
Yeah.
But man, I would wake up and just feel so shallow and empty. My life was like as shallow as a puddle until I finally, met Liz and, loved someone more than I cared about somebody more than I cared about me, because I only cared about one person at the time.
Guy in the mirror.
Yeah, guy in the mirror, 2 thumbs. And I cared about somebody more than I cared about myself, and I got sober, and yeah, it was fun. And I miss it, living in that time, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now I have joy. I have real happiness and joy, and it's deep and meaningful,
tangible,
and it's tangible. And man, I've never had more fun watching a fucking 10-year-old kid, my kid Trip, play soccer than I ever thought I could have. I'll watch him every weekend play soccer, and I'm like, man, I love watching him play. It's like the highlight of my weekend. You know, I'm going on a mammoth trip. I'm going to drive all through the night so I don't have to miss a soccer game on after my trip's done and make both their soccer games. Because watching both my kids play soccer now is the highlight of my fucking life.
Because they play soccer and do jiu-jitsu.
And they do jiu-jitsu. And coming home and watching, dude, having Rocky, my littlest, run up and just squeeze. He's such a lover. Just give me the biggest hug.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, there is no fucking happiness like this in the fucking world, you know?
And you know what,
I see those, I saw this meme and this biker is fucking doing this like wheelie on an old bike and it's all my friends are getting married and having kids and I'm like, brat. And it's true. Like, yeah, dude, you're living it. You're having a good time. But just know that I did all that and man, there is no fucking happiness.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling right now.
You know, it's good for you too because your kids are still kind of young.
Yeah.
Because I look back at my kids and I kind of sacrificed a lot because I had to, right?
Yeah.
Vegas was just eating me up. I could never get my shit together in Vegas because it's Vegas.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I sacrificed by moving out into California and I missed maybe 10 years, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see them now and I'm thinking.
But you're making up for a lot of it.
Yeah.
You have a good relationship with them.
One of my friends said it on one of the podcasts we did and I resonated with it because now that, you know, the cafes are doing well and, you know, monetary wise, I'm doing better than I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
I can kind of buy back the time that I missed, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Hey, you know what, man? If I would have had kids when I was younger, I don't think they'd be talking to me now.
I mean, yeah, right?
You know what I mean? They wouldn't be talking to me. You know,
Right.
You talk to your kids. You have a good relationship with your kids.
Yeah.
I saw this interview once, and this guy, he asked him about success, and I think this guy was like a billionaire. And I remember him saying, asking, well, what do you like? Success? Success is, you know, because how do you rate success? Like, what is really success?
Right.
And he goes, the most successful thing I've done is that I have a good relationship with my kids.
Yeah.
And that my son calls me. He calls me and wants to talk to me, you know? And it's
Yeah.
that is one of my greatest successes in my life. All the money or whatever, yeah, it's cool. But that is my greatest success.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to always think that about tattooing, oh man, I succeeded as a tattoo artist, you
Right.
know? And people, you know, I made my mark on the tattoo industry and all that stuff. But I'm like, man, raising my kids is, you know what I mean?
Numero uno.
Dude, tattooing takes a backseat to being a dad and a husband.
Yeah.
Nowadays, right now.
Yes.
You know? And some people can't understand that, and that's fine. And they can raise their fist in their air and say, yeah, I fucking never missed a day of tattooing, and I fucking no breaks, and tattooing till I die, and this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. That's not, I'm
You probably don't have kids.
dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of them do, bro.
Well, some
and
of
I'm just like, dad, for me, you know, right now in my life.
I
It's the
think
most
so, too.
important thing, and I'm investing everything into it, and I tattoo enough to put food on the table and to provide for their future. And anything after that, I'm just going to spend time with them, you know?
That's where I'm at. I think we're both at the same pinnacle of life, dude,
Yeah.
you know? I think it's good, dude. Yeah, you know what? Just being able to have these conversations with people that I call my friends that are also successful business owners gives me personally just a different insight on fuck, you know what? We all took these different roads to where we're at today in different fields of trades and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But we all kind of have this similar way of thinking and on what we want in life now, you know?
Yeah.
And where we were before, we're kind of thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
live for the moment. We're invincible. Let's just fucking live it.
Yeah. And
You
we
know?
did.
And we did.
We lived.
You know, we lived. And yeah, I had to get the fuck out of Vegas.
Yeah.
I had to get the fuck out of Vegas, man.
Yeah.
Gambling, drinking, fucking partying, just,
Yeah.
yeah, you know? And then now it's fuck. Like you said, I wouldn't trade the time with my kids for anything right now, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I try to be more present than I've ever been, buy back that time,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah, I mean, your daughter's getting tattooed. In
Yeah,
a
and, you
few
know, just to
days.
shave
I'm
the-
sure you're going to come by.
just to share that memory, you know, with my daughter, with you here.
Yeah.
And when she said her tattoo, I said, you're not getting it done by anybody but Tim. That's it. You're
Yeah.
going to Tim for your first one. You know? And then I said, you better fucking get it big. If not, I'm not getting shit. You know? And then, but she chose to get it done. And, you know, a lot of people saw that and they talk about my daughter's tattoo. They say, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
How was she? I go, fuck, you know what? I think we stopped once and went on.
Just blasted right through.
Yeah, just blasted right
she
through
crushed it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to work on it again, man.
Yeah, she's like, Dad, I need to get my tattoos. I was like, fuck, well, we have to make the appointment first. We can't just fucking go in.
Yeah.
You know, so we made the appointment, and she's like, fuck, how is he going to do it? You know what? Just let Tim do his thing, Malia. Just let him do his thing. Regardless of what you do, when you go back there. And I try to tell people that, too. When they ask about tattoos, I said, you know what? Yeah, you're going in with an idea on what you want.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why you're going to that specific artist right there.
Yeah.
Let them do what they fucking do with the idea you give them.
Yeah.
And then what's the worst you're going to say? You can probably change A, B, C, or D, but give them the freedom to do it because that's what makes the artist enjoy their fucking job.
Yeah.
Is having the freedom to do what they do.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I tell people when they would ask about tattoos.
Yeah.
And now I tell them, you know, go to Tim Hendricks, Fullerton. I go, you're probably going to wait, but it'll be worth the wait. And there's
Or and they don't want to wait, man. It's some
There's
of the best
many
tattooers.
artists here.
Yeah, some of the best
You know?
tattooers,
And
I
then
think, around.
some of them
at
go,
the
hey,
shop,
chef,
yeah.
You think you could call Tag? You know what? Tim's a good buddy of mine. I won't do that, dude. I won't do that. You know, if I said I didn't do that for my.
Every once in a while, Brophy will hit me up and be like,
Yeah.
hey, you know I never do this, man, but if you could just get this guy in, and I'm like, all right. And,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm like, Brophy never
Yeah.
tries to get somebody in, and I know he gets hit up all the time. But I'm like, if he's asking me, that means that he really cares about this person. So I'll
like,
get him in.
even Brophy, you know, I've met so much people and made connections since I've been in California, like
Yeah.
real genuine connections, you know. And so a buddy of, have you been to Rip Pizza?
No.
You need to go.
Okay.
You need to take the kids to Rip Pizza in Huntington Beach. It's best fucking wings you'll ever have in your life. Naked
Yeah.
wings but
Yeah,
the
I'll
pizza's
take the
great.
family.
Yeah, let me know when you want to go. But Brophy, I was in Vegas and Brophy texted me, hey, me and Jesus Christ, I can't think of his wife's name. Lindy.
Oh, Lindsay.
Lindsay, yeah. He goes, me and Lindy got a night out, just me and her. You think we wanted to go to Rip? I go, when do you want to go? He goes, can you set up in 30
Oh, is
minutes?
it hard to get in?
It's fucking busy. It's a busy fucking
yeah,
joint.
yeah.
So I said, fuck, you know what, let me make a call. So I text my buddy, Ryan, he's the owner of it. And I go, hey, I don't do this to you at all, but I have a really good friend and his wife. It's a date night. Can you
Yeah.
get them in 30 minutes? It's just two of them. And he goes, let me see what I can do. And he goes, what's the name? I go, Brophy. He goes, Brophy? Brophy from Ruka? I go, yeah. He goes, I know Brophy. I said, okay, fuck, well, it's Brophy then. So that connection there, you know, I was like, fuck it, well, here we go, you know. But a lot of people ask me to go, can you get, I go, nah, man, I'm not going to do that. It's his business, dude. I've never done that. I'm never going to do that. I don't care if it's for my brother or whatever.
And yeah, I mean, I just tattoo my regulars.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I'm
I said,
blessed.
no.
And every once in a while, I meet another person and they get in and then they become a regular. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how the rotation goes. And I know it's impossible. And if you've been trying to get tattooed by me for years, I'm sorry. I'm never going to be able to tattoo all the people that asked me to get tattooed
Yeah, no.
in my lifetime. And I'm very blessed because of it. And I never take it for granted. And I'm very grateful, but I'm sorry.
You know what, Tim? Fuck, 2 hours came like that, dude.
Oh, is it 2 hours?
Yeah, you
All
know
right,
what?
we'll call it. Maybe
No,
we'll do a part two one day.
I want to do a part two because there's so
right.
much I want to ask you
All right,
that I
cool.
didn't, dude. You know, experiences with tattooing, with just stories like the Ammy story that you can get
Yeah.
into. You know, just a lot of things. I think a lot of people would want to hear it, so we'll save
Yeah.
that for part two. But fuck, thank you for making
Hey,
time.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful to be on this. I'm very grateful to anyone who listened to me, who actually wants to hear what I have to say.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Fuck, again, thank you for making time. I'm stoked to be able to call you a fucking genuine friend.
Likewise.
I'm stoked to just know more about tattooing, the history of tattooing, history of the shop,
Yeah.
and everything. Every time we talk story while I'm here, it intrigues me. It totally gets my focus, and I'm totally in tune with it. You know, it's tattoos, cooking is probably top two of what I love about life,
Yeah.
besides my children and family. But I'm eager to know more about, and thank you for sharing your knowledge about tattooing and,
Yeah,
and your
100%.
experience, bro. I love it. And anything you want to leave the people watching this podcast with? Let's just say advice on just life for people.
There is no elevator. Stop looking for the elevator or the escalator. You got to take the fucking stairs. Just do the hard work. There's no secret to success. There's no secret at all. The secret is just take the fucking stairs and do the work.
Fuck. There you have it, Tim Hendricks. Take the fucking stairs. Follow at Tim Hendricks or Eric Moski's Classic Tattoo in Fullerton. Chef Gene, Color Gangster, cool visuals, Classic Tattoo, Tim Hendricks. Aloha, guys. Till the next time. Yeah.
That's good. Good one?
Yeah, Tim.